Hokage. My Sharingan is about to burst. Chapter 61. Third Hokage Sarutobi Hiruzen was observing Mangekyo Sharingan of Uchiha Uyama. Suddenly, as if he noticed something, he looked at Uchiha Uyama, who was looking at him with extremely complex eyes. He paused and suddenly used a special gesture and waved twice. Next, this gesture Uchiha Chushin has never seen before. It seems to be a gesture separated from Anbu's gesture communication. However, Uchiha Chushin is particularly confident in the distinguished heavenly gods and believes that the third Hokage is also under control. Since his Sharingan evolved into the eternal Mangekyo Sharingan, the upper limit of the pupil technique, distinguished heavenly gods, has also been increased. Uchiha Chushin can feel that as long as the level does not reach the six paths level, unless there is another pair of pupil techniques born in the eternal Mangekyo Sharingan that specifically restrains illusions, but this is impossible. It is impossible for the rest of the people to resist his distinguished heavenly gods. Even Uchiha Shisui's distinguished heavenly gods can't. With the waving of third Hokage's gesture, Uchiha could keenly feel that both the Anbu personnel in the darkness next to him and those ninjas with special abilities seemed to be avoiding him. After the third Hokage and other people in the dark left, he suddenly formed a seal with his hands. Seal barrier, rise. As the third Hokage formed the seal, Uchiha Chushin could clearly feel that there was a layer of barrier covering the Hokage's office. The surrounding area directly isolated the Hokage office. After the third Hokage raised the barrier, he picked up the pipe placed on the table, took a deep breath, and then spit it out heavily. Uchiha Chushin looked at the third Hokage and made no other movements. He just stayed there quietly, waiting quietly. After third Hokage Sarutobi Hiruzen finished smoking, he put down his pipe and finally asked, "This should be the pupil technique of Mangekyo Sharingan of your Uchiha clan. I didn't expect that the pupil technique of the Uchiha clan is so magical. It is so magical. I was caught unawares." When Uchiha Chushin heard what third Hokage said, he did not show any disrespect at all because he had controlled the third generation. He replied calmly, returning to third Hokage-sama, "This is indeed the pupil technique of our Uchiha Mangekyo Sharingan. It can silently change a person's thoughts and will without letting the people around them notice." The third Hokage nodded when he heard Uchiha Chushin's words. "I guess that with such a good effect and concealment, except for your Uchiha's pupil technique, I really can't think of any other ninjutsu and secret techniques that can achieve this. The effect, I can feel the power of this pupil technique. Although now I know that you control me through pupil technique, I have no hostility towards you at all, and I will obey your words and will not do anything detrimental to you. I will also cover it up for you. This is really a terrifying eye technique." When Uchiha Chushin heard what third Hokage said, he nodded secretly. This is the effect he wants to achieve. He must control third Hokage without leaving any loopholes. Before, Uchiha Shisui was too kind and refused to control through distinguished heavenly gods. He lived in his beloved third Hokage. At that time, the third generation and Danzo were too wary of him, or in other words, the Uchiha clan except Shisui, so it was only now that he had the chance to control the old man who had been in charge of Konoha village for decades. At this time, third Hokage asked directly, "What do you need me to do?" "Let the Uchiha clan come back and take charge of Konoha." Uchiha Chushin shook his head when he heard what third Hokage said. He finally found a safer place for the Uchiha clan than Konoha village. How could he let them come back? Why come back? In a few years, they will welcome the Super Shinra Tensei. And he only controls the third Hokage now. Don't forget, there are many ninja families in Konoha village, large and small. Although the Uchiha family currently has the support of the third Hokage and may also have the support of Shimura Danzo in a while, but if the Uchiha clan were to take control of Konoha village, there wouldn't necessarily be much trouble. It would be better to let the third Hokage control Konoha village and secretly use the village's resources to support the Uchiha clan. This not only avoids dragging the Uchiha clan into the quagmire of Konoha village, but also allows the Uchiha clan to maintain rapid development. Thinking of this, Uchiha Chushin was not polite and said straightforwardly, "Third generation Sama, I have longed for the sealed book in the village for a long time. I hope to have a look at it. Of course, there are also the ninjutsu and secret techniques recorded in our village. I have to trouble third generation Sama to get me a copy." The third Hokage heard Uchiha Chushin's words and nodded without saying anything. Instead, he turned around and left, entering the secret room behind him. After a while, the third Hokage walked out holding a large scroll, with the 4 characters, sealed book, written on it. The third Hokage directly handed the big scroll to Uchiha Chushin, and said, "I knew you would want the sealed book. Don't worry, I have cleaned up all the traps inside, and they will not cause any harm to you. It won't hurt you, and it won't self-destruct. Do you want to read it here, or take it back to read it? If you take it back to read it, you'd better be careful and don't let others find it. After all, the sealed book is too important to our Konoha village. If people in the village find it in your hands, they may suspect me, and then it will be difficult to deal with it." Uchiha Choshin took the sealed book, handed over by third Hokage, and Kaido said carelessly, "Third generation Sama, don't worry, I won't take it back. You also know that as long as the Sharingan of our Uchiha clan reaches the level of 3 Magatama, the contents of this sealed book will soon be remembered in our minds." As Uchiha Choshin spoke, he opened the sealed book, opened the Sharingan, and copied it. Multiple shadow clone technique, summoning technique, impure world reincarnation, 8 inner gates formation, tandem paper bombs, ghoul's seal, 4 elephants seal, flying thunder god technique, etc., were all copied in Uchiha's mind through Sharingan. Uchiha Choshin was copying the contents of the sealed book, and thinking in his heart, with the contents of this sealed book, it will not be a loss if I control the third Hokage today. In just a short while, I will be completely restored. This is it. For a moment, the Hokage office was quiet, with only the sounds of third Hokage smoking and Uchiha Chushin flipping through scrolls in the space. By the time third Hokage finished smoking his pipe, Uchiha Chushin had already copied the contents of the sealed book into his mind, just waiting to study it later. Uchiha Chushin re-rolled the sealed book and returned it to third Hokage. Third Hokage did not speak, but directly took the scroll and put it back in the secret room behind him. When the third generation came out, Uchiha Chushin was not polite and said bluntly, "Third generation Sama, please make a copy of all the ninjutsu and secret arts information in Konoha village and give it to me." The third Hokage looked at Uchiha Chushin deeply and replied, "I will take care of this matter, don't worry." Then Uchiha Chushin chatted with third generation about the secrets and situation of Konoha village. Without wasting too much time, third Hokage revoked the previous barrier. After the barrier was revoked, Uchiha Chushin paused, looked at the third Hokage's already showing old face, and said, "Finally, Lord Third Generation, please invite Advisor Shimura Danzo here." After the third Hokage heard Uchiha Chushin's words, his already older face seemed to have aged a few years in an instant. He was silent for a rare moment, and finally said in a solemn voice, "Okay, I'll call Danzo here right now." After saying that, third Hokage found a rope somewhere, and he gently pulled the rope. After a while, a Uchiha man came out that he had never seen before. He was dressed like Anbu. Use the body flicker technique to get in front of the third Hokage. The third Hokage looked at the person in front of him and ordered, "Go and invite Danzo. I have something to discuss with him." The Anbu staff said nothing and left directly using the body flicker technique. Seeing him leaving, third Hokage explained to Uchiha Chushin, "This is my trusted aide. It is up to him to invite Danzo, and Danzo will come over as quickly as possible." Then he asked, "Chushan, are you ready to control Danzo like you control me?" Uchiha Choshin didn't mean to hide it from the third Hokage and nodded, "Yes, Danzo is too much of a threat to me. As you know, Advisor Danzo has always been hostile to our Uchiha clan. I don't trust him to hide in the dark and cause trouble." Third Hokage also knew the personality of his old friend. Hearing Uchiha Chushin's words, he was a little embarrassed, but for the sake of his old friend's life, he still said shamelessly, "Although Danzo has done many wrong things, and Shisui's thing was also wrong, but for my sake, Chushan, can you consider sparing his life? Besides, there is still use in staying with him, he can take charge of your roots and collect intelligence for you." Uchiha Choshin was not surprised when he heard third Hokage's words. After all, he had always heard about the bond between third Hokage and Shimura Danzo. If it weren't for third Hokage's indulgence, Shimura Danzo would not be so unscrupulous and lawless. Uchiha Chushin took a deep look at third Hokage, and replied without answering, "Third Hokage-sama, in fact, I think that sometimes, Shimura Danzo is more suitable for the position of Hokage than you." As for Shimura Danzo's life and death, Uchiha Chushin will certainly not agree to the third Hokage. After all, Shimura Danzo has done too many bad things, and he cannot protect a person who has done all the bad things. As for his life and death, it depends on his life. The third Hokage fell silent when he heard Uchiha Chushin's words. In fact, he also knew his shortcomings. As he grew older, his temper became weaker and weaker, which was not a good thing for a leader. For a moment, the Hokage office fell into silence, and no one had the desire to speak. Uchiha Chushin waited for a while, guessing that Shimura Danzo was about to arrive, so he hid in a hidden place. Because after his pupil technique, Distinguished Heavenly Gods has been strengthened, he no longer needs to look into the eyes of the target. As long as he hides in a corner where he can see the target, and is not too far away, the pupil technique, Distinguished Heavenly Gods can all work. The third Hokage sat behind his desk and smoked silently. He actually didn't want Shimura Danzo to be controlled by Uchiha Chushin, but he also knew that he had no way to refuse Uchiha Chushin's request. After Uchiha Chushin hid in the corner for a while, he heard a step approaching from far away, slowly approaching the Hokage office. Without any hesitation, the door to Hokage's office was pushed open and someone came in. The person who came in was Shimura Danzo. Since the third Hokage was also an old friend of Danzo, Shimura Danzo had no precautions and came to the desk of the third Hokage with a sting. When Shimura Danzo came to the office, seeing that there was no one else here, he said bluntly, "Hiruzen, why are you calling me here in such a hurry? You also know that it is not convenient for me to show up now, and I am looking for the message left by Mr. Tobirama. My information, let's see if there is any way to deal with the evil Uchiha clan's Uchiha Chushin." While third Hokage was talking to Shimura Danzo, Uchiha Chushin, who was hiding in the dark, had already opened the Sharingan. After careful observation, it was confirmed that the person standing in front of Hokage's desk was neither shadow clone nor using transformation technique. Then, there is a 90% chance that the person in front of you is Shimura Danzo himself. Uchiha Chushin did not hesitate and opened the Mangekyo Sharingan without hesitation, and directly used the pupil technique, Distinguished Heavenly Gods on Shimura Danzo. I saw Uchiha Chushin's Mangekyo Sharingan turning faster and faster. Chihashin focused Mangekyo Sharingan's sight on Shimura Danzo. The pupil technique, Distinguished Heavenly Gods, is activated. It was still the same as when he controlled the third Hokage before. An unknown force that no one noticed directly invaded Shimura Danzo's brain silently, changing his thoughts and will, making the shadow of Konoha village in front of him. The root leader of Konoha village has followed Uchiha Chushin's orders from then on, and his orders are the highest orders of Shimura Danzo. Like the third Hokage, Uchiha Chushin did not feel any decent resistance when he controlled Danzo, and the person in front of him was controlled by him. There is no way. This is the reason why Distinguished Heavenly Gods is called the most powerful illusion. At this moment, Shimura Danzo, who was standing in front of Hokage's desk, suddenly stopped talking and looked at each other silently with third Hokage Sarutobi Hiruzen. Uchiha Chushin knew that the Distinguished Heavenly Gods had successfully controlled Danzo, and walked out of the corner leisurely. Seeing that Shimura Danzo had been controlled by the Distinguished Heavenly Gods, Uchiha Chushin stopped hiding in the corner and walked out leisurely. Shimura Danzo, who originally had his back to Uchiha Hill, heard footsteps approaching from behind, and turned around alertly. After seeing that it was Uchiha Hill, Shimura Danzo's eyes no longer had the previous hostility and prejudice against the Uchiha clan. On the contrary, it is a kind of fanaticism, as if seeing the meaning of life that I have been pursuing all my life. When Shimura Danzo saw that the person behind him was Uchiha Chushin, he immediately knelt on the ground and put his right hand on his chest, as if he was Uchiha Chushin's subordinate. His tone was respectful but also mixed with enthusiasm. Shimura Danzo has seen Sir Chushin. It was Danzo who did something wrong before. Please forgive me. If you are dissatisfied with your subordinates, as long as you give your order, your subordinates will immediately commit suicide at the foot of Hokage Rock, which will definitely not bring any trouble to you. Shimura Danzo paused, and then continued. Of course, if you are magnanimous and spare the lives of your subordinates, Shimura Danzo will definitely treat you badly and die. Seeing Shimura Danzo's respectful and enthusiastic attitude, Uchiha Chushin knew that even if he asked Shimura Danzo to commit suicide now, he would execute it without hesitation. Looking at Shimura Danzo, who was half kneeling on the ground, Uchiha Chushin nodded with satisfaction. The distinguished heavenly gods are so powerful that they can easily make these two people with junior Kage level strength use his Uchiha Chushin's orders. Vocational duty. When I controlled the third Hokage before, out of respect for the old man, I did not control him as if he were his subordinate. I just treated him as an equal. Of course, his orders were absolute, even for the third Hokage. The Hokage respects him, and it is impossible for the third Hokage to resist his orders. As for Shimura Danzo, because Uchiha Chushin had always had a bad impression of him, he was not polite and directly controlled Shimura Danzo to become his subordinate through the distinguished heavenly gods, with the lowest status. Uchiha Chushin glanced at Shimura Danzo, who was still half kneeling on the ground, and did not let him get up. Although Shimura Danzo was not young, he was still a disciple of Senju Tobirama, and he should have the strength to enter Kage level for the first time. These abilities, although the current Uchiha Chushin doesn't like them, but if he is allowed to kneel on the ground for a while, such as a day and a night, Uchiha Chushin feels that there should not be a big problem. Uchiha Chushin looked at Shimura Danzo, who was half kneeling, and third Hokage, who had stood up from his desk and stood next to Shimura Danzo. He said directly, "About my control of you, no one should leak the slightest news. You are still the same as before. Don't make any changes. Of course, all actions against me and the Uchiha clan must be cancelled. You can find the reasons yourself, and don't arouse others' suspicion, do you understand?" When Uchiha Chushin said these words, his tone became more and more serious. At the end of the sentence, his voice was raised a bit, letting third Hokage and Shimura Danzo know how seriously he took this matter, and they both expressed that they understood. Absolutely nothing will go wrong. Uchiha Chushin is relatively relieved about third Hokage and Shimura Danzo. Although the two people have different personalities and ways of dealing with things, the same thing is that they are both old foxes with high IQs and high aspirations. They will not let others find out easily. Their flaw, if it weren't for the distinguished heavenly god's pupil technique that is too heaven-defying, these two old foxes would not be able to be in the hands of Uchiha Chushin. Otherwise, Uchiha Shisui was too naive and let out his biggest trump card easily. Third Hokage and Shimura Danzo were afraid of the distinguished heavenly gods. If he wasn't unlucky, who else would be unlucky? After taking care of all the worries he could think of, Uchiha Chushin also breathed a sigh of relief. Today was really not easy. He took the risk to control the third Hokage and Shimura Danzo, even if he controlled the entire Konoha village, in the hand. As for the other two consultants, Uchiha Chushin really didn't pay attention. Not only did he have a low sense of existence, but he also had no real power in Konoha village. That is to say, the third Hokage was too soft-hearted and could bear them for the sake of his companions. In front of me, if it had been anyone else, their positions would have been removed and they would have been told to go home. As for Konoha village, Uchiha Chushin doesn't want to change much. After all, the reincarnations of Indra and Ashura are in Konoha village. In the future, when Otsutsuki Kagaya comes out, they will have to rely on them to seal it. As for what Uchiha Chushin is doing, of course he is shouting from behind. 666. Of course, if you are very strong, then you can also consider sending warmth to Otsutsuki Kagaya, the poor 1,000-year-old otaku who has been sealed for thousands of years. After all, people's hearts are made of flesh, and he, Uchiha Chushin, is also very sympathetic. I think it's not because of Otsutsuki Kagaya's looks. Far from it. Of course, if you don't want to change the big plot, you can still change the small plot. For example, third Hokage Sarutobi Hiruzen is already very old and has no energy enough to fulfill the responsibilities of the Hokage. You can consider recalling Tsunade. The village asked this broad-minded Sannin to take over the position of Hokage. Of course, whether Hokage has maternity leave or not, this is what Uchiha Chushin needs to consider. Thinking of this, Uchiha Chushin suddenly thought that the girl with glasses, Yakushi Nanoyu, should be about to be killed by Shimura Danzo and Yakushi Kabuto at this time. She asked quickly and still knelt on the ground. Shimura Danzo. Danzo, the walking Miko, Yakushi no is your subordinate, right? Where is she now? How is she doing? Shimura Danzo didn't expect Lord Uchiha to know about his right-hand man, Yakushi no. He was stunned for a moment, organized his words, and replied respectfully. As for Mr. Chushan, Yakushi Nunoyu is still performing tasks outside. However, although she is very powerful, she has too much confidential information in her hands, and her subordinates are planning to let her and another spy ninja kill each other, and finally I will finish it off and completely eliminate them. Uchiha Choshin was relieved when he heard that Shimura Danzo had not yet had time to implement the plan to eliminate Yakushi no. It would be a pity if such a beautiful and gentle girl with glasses was killed, and as long as she has it in her hands, which means that she also has the late-stage boss Yakushi Kabuto in her hands. This deal is very suitable. Moreover, Uchiha Makoto is also pregnant now. Although the Uchiha clan also has medical ninjas, they are still inferior to Yakushi no. She just happened to be transferred here to take good care of Sister Makoto. Of course, necessary safety measures must be taken before she takes care of Sister Makoto. Still needs to be done. Uchiha thought that Sister Makoto needed to be taken care of now, so he ordered Danzo, as for Yakushi no, cancel the action against her and transfer her back as soon as possible. Since you are not worried about her, then leave her to her. When she comes back, send her to me, I will be of use. Uchiha Choshin paused, thinking that the first stage of the lightning-style armor he had cultivated had been completed, and he needed the second and third stages, but he didn't have time recently, otherwise he would go directly to Cloud Shinobi Village. I copied and learned it using his Mangekyo Sharingan. Thinking of this, Uchiha asked, I need the second and third stages of Raikage's secret technique, lightning-style armor. Are they available in the village? Third Hokage and Shimura Danzo both shook their heads when they heard Uchiha Choshin's question. Third Hokage then explained, Choshin-kun, regarding Raikage's series of lightning-style armor, our village only has the first phase content, because Cloud Shinobi Village is semi-public about the first phase of lightning-style armor, mainly because it wants to select people who are talented in this secret technique. Danzo and I have also studied this secret technique before, and it is indeed very difficult. Has also been promoted on a small scale, but the results were not satisfactory, so we did not pursue the second phase of content. After all, the price is relatively high. It is possible that our spies lurking in Cloud Shinobi Village will be exposed. As for the content of the third phase, I heard that it is a top secret thing of the Raikage series. They only pass it on orally and have not recorded it on paper, which makes access even less likely. Uchiha Choshin also had a headache after hearing what Third Hokage said. After all, he has only practiced the first stage of the lightning-style armor. If there is no second stage to pave the way, he would directly copy Raikage's third-level master. Lightning-style armor may cause his body to be unable to accept it and collapse directly. There are only two ways now. One is to obtain the lightning-style armor of the second stage. After he has mastered it, he can directly copy the lightning-style armor on Raikage. Although this is difficult, because Raikage's series is very difficult for the second stage. Lightning-style armor is not very important, so it is not very difficult. The second one is to exercise your body and increase your physical strength, but this is more troublesome. Not only is it inefficient, but it also wastes a lot of time. But the better thing is that after all, the strength of his body does not have a big impact on him, so he doesn't need to pay too much attention to it. When the sage body of the first-generation Hokage Senju Hashirama is copied in the future, it can be solved once and for all. Uchiha Choshin rubbed his forehead and directly ordered, then let the undercover ninjas in Cloud Shinobi Village try to get him here, but everything is based on his life safety. There is no need to throw away his life for this secret technique. After the third Hokage and Shimura Danzo heard Uchiha Choshin's words, they said in unison, as you command, Lord Choshin. But the difference is that third Hokage's face is smiling. After all, Uchiha Choshin's approach of cherishing the lives of Konoha village ninjas is very much in line with his wishes, while Shimura Danzo's face is disapproving. In his opinion, the completion of the mission is more important than their lives. As long as the mission can be completed, it doesn't matter if they lose their lives. After solving the matter of lightning-style armor, Uchiha Chushin will finally complete what he has been waiting for a long time. He looked at the two people in front of him and asked, "Now, who can tell me where the only wood-style ninja in our Konoha village is now?" Uchiha Chushin did not say Yamato's name because he is not sure where Yamato is now. If Shimura Danzo is still there now, his name is not Yamato, but the code name, so he might as well ask Wood-style directly, which is more clear. Hearing that Uchiha Chushin was looking for the Wood-style ninja, before the third Hokage could speak, Shimura Danzo glared at the third Hokage fiercely, and said as if he was complaining, returning to Mr. Chushin, "The Wood-style ninja has been there all along. Our roots, he also grew up in the roots, but Sarutobi Hiruzen was kidnapped from me recently, and he should be in his Anbu now." When the third Hokage heard Shimura Danzo's complaint, he coughed several times, as if he was choked by smoke. After coughing, he immediately replied, "Master Chushan, that Wood-style ninja has a new name of Yamato. I'm on standby in Anbu now. Although I arranged for you to be in Anbu before, you are not on the same team as Yamato, so I haven't had any contact with you." Uchiha Chushin was very happy when he heard that Yamato was now at the Anbu base. He had now controlled the third Hokage and Shimura Danzo. He was afraid that Yamato would be sent out on a mission and he didn't know when he would be able to come back. So he wanted to the idea of copying Wood-style as far away. When he heard that Yamato was at the base now, he ignored everything else and directly ordered the third Hokage, third generation, call Yamato to an empty training ground now. Just tell him to test his recent training results and let him release all the Wood-style ninjutsu he knows. The third Hokage heard Uchiha Chushin's instructions and had no objection. He directly followed his instructions and sent someone to call Yamato to the training ground number 15. Of course, not only the third Hokage and Uchiha Chushin followed him to the training ground number 15, but Shimura Danzo also he followed, but he couldn't leave yet. After Uchiha Chushin finished copying Yamato's Wood-style, he still had something to tell him to do. Yamato arrived quickly. Not long after Uchiha Chushin and his team arrived at training ground 15, he arrived. Seeing Shimura Danzo also there, he was so frightened that he ran to the side of third Hokage, half-kneeled and saluted, "Anbu Ninja Yamato, report to Lord Hokage." As for the masked Uchiha standing behind the third Hokage, because he was dressed in Anbu, Yamato thought he was a guard protecting the third Hokage. Third Hokage Sarutobi Hiruzen was still the same as before, and ordered with a smile, "Yamato, don't be nervous. This time I asked you to come, mainly to see if you have made progress in this period of time. Like us ninjas, as long as you follow this path, you have to persevere to the end, don't slack off, just perform normally." Since both Yamato's former boss and current boss were in front of him, Yamato would be lying if he said he wasn't nervous, but he still took a deep breath, suppressed his strange emotions, and saluted third Hokage. He strolled directly to the middle of the training ground and began to demonstrate his Wood-style ninjutsu. And just when Yamato walked to the middle of the training ground to demonstrate Wood-style ninjutsu, the long-awaited Uchiha also opened his eternal Mangekyo Sharingan, staring at Yamato closely, ready to copy his ninjutsu at any time. When Yamato walked to the middle and felt that it would not affect the onlookers, he took out his last state and began to display his Wood-style ninjutsu. I saw Yamato's hands forming seals, starting from simple to complex, and began to display them one by one. Wood-style wood spindle wall. Wood-style silent killing technique. Wood-style big forest technique. Wood-style cutting technique. Wood-style 10th edict on enlightenment. Etc., etc. There are also many Wood-style ninjutsu. Uchiha learned them one by one following Yamato's demonstration, including defensive ones, attack ones, clone transformation ones, and finally one that can control 9 tails. As Uchiha learned Yamato's Wood-style, the system that had been following Uchiha also sent him a prompt. Congratulations to the host, you have learned the blood succession limit Wood-style through the pupil technique, Eye of Replication, which occupies 1 learning quota. It is expected that the blood succession limit Wood-style will be integrated into the host's body in 12 hours. Please wait patiently for the integration. During this period, it is normal to feel a little uncomfortable, so please do not panic. Single quote. Uchiha was very happy when he heard about the improvement of the system. He gained a lot this time. Not only did he get the Wood-style that he had longed for, but he also directly learned all the ninjutsu of the wood style. He no longer had to go through the materials to learn it on his own. Uchiha watched Yamato perform the last wood style ninjutsu, wood style 4-pillar house technique, 4-pillar house technique. Although he knew the result, he couldn't help but sigh. In fact, Yamato's wood style is already very powerful. With this wood style, Yamato at least has the strength of elite Jonin, and it has offense, defense, control, and sealing. It can be said that it has everything. However, it also depends on who he is competing with. Another person who knows wood style is the ninja god of the ninja world, a generation of Hokage, Senju Hashirama. Senju Hashirama is a person who can overpower the entire ninja world with his wood style. That is, meeting Uchiha Madara, who was otherwise a god of his time. Uchiha speculates that Senju Hashirama's wood style is different from Yamato's, probably because of his sage body. If the Mangekyo Sharingan of the Uchiha clan represents the ultimate in yin escape, then Senju Hashirama's sage body is the ultimate in yang escape. Senju Hashirama's wood style should not be the blood inheritance limit composed of earth style and water style, but the blood inheritance elimination composed of the 3 attributes of earth style, water style and yang escape. This can explain that the same wood style, Yamato it can only build houses, but Senju Hashirama can use 9 tails as toys. Otherwise, how could Senju Hashirama compete with Uchiha Madara who had the eternal Mangekyo Sharingan and the perfect Susanoo at that time? If you think about it, except for Senju Hashirama's wood style true several thousand hands, Senju Guanyin, which can blow up Uchiha Madara's Susanoo, others will feel powerless when facing the complete Susanoo. I couldn't even hit his knee when I jumped. Yamato released all the wood style ninjutsu he had mastered, and it took a lot of energy. Even when he saluted the 3rd Hokage, he was still out of breath. 3rd Hokage had actually seen Yamato's wood style a long time ago, so he already knew about Yamato's performance. He praised Yamato with a smile, told him to go back to rest, and sent him away. Yamato was also very sensible. After bowing to 3rd Hokage and Shimura Danzo, he left obediently. Uchiha watched Yamato's back getting further and further away, and sighed, "This wood style is amazing. It has both offense and defense, and the effect is much stronger than the simple earth style and water style." When the 3rd Hokage heard what Uchiha Chushin said, he also sighed, "Yes, it's a pity that there is only one wood style ninja in our village now. The wood style is not easy to awaken. The Senju clan has only awakened Hokage adults one by one. Even he, my granddaughter, Tsunade, is so talented, and the purity of the Senju clan's bloodline is so high, yet she has not awakened the wood style." After saying that, he sighed with regret. Uchiha Choshin also sighed. Even though there are so many Hokages who know wood style in the later period, as long as you look carefully, you will find that people who know wood style are either related to Senju Hashirama or to the sacred tree. From beginning to end, the only person who can awaken wood style on his own, apart from the legendary Ashura, is the Hokage Senju Hashirama. Thinking of this, Uchiha frowned again and said hesitantly, "Yamato's wood style is indeed amazing, but its power feels a bit weak. It feels like an elite Jonin at most, even Kage level it cannot be achieved, you know, the original Senju Hashirama, but with his wood style, his combat power reached a super Kage level." After hearing what Uchiha Chushin said, the 3rd Hokage had not spoken yet. Shimura Danzo, who had been waiting next to him, couldn't help it. How can Yamato compare with the 1st Hokage? He is also a defective product. We have estimated that Yamato's wood style, it can reach 20% of 1st Hokage, there is no comparison at all. Uchiha Choshin saw Shimura Danzo come out to increase his presence again, and said angrily, "I haven't settled the score with you yet. Is it comfortable for our Uchiha clan's Sharingan to use? Izanagi is easy to use, because I killed him with a knife that day. Then he was resurrected without any damage, using Izanagi, right? Now, under your eye patch, is there a Sharingan from our Uchiha clan?" Shimura Danzo was so scolded by Uchiha that he shut himself up. He knew that his position in front of Uchiha was inferior to Sarutobi Hiruzen. Unexpectedly, he just interrupted and was scolded by Uchiha so badly that he had to shut up tightly. He closed his mouth and stopped talking. Uchiha Choshin doesn't like Shimura Danzo at all, although Shimura Danzo claims to be the root of Konoha village and says that he does everything for the village. Yes, Shimura Danzo should have done a lot of things that were beneficial to Konoha village. However, based on what he saw, most of the things Shimura Danzo did were for himself. Danzo regarded Konoha village as his own, and he didn't regard himself as a member of the village. That's why Uchiha Choshin had such a bad attitude towards Shimura Danzo. If Danzo hadn't been needed to control the roots and collect intelligence, and for the sake of the third Hokage, he would have sent him to the Pure Land long ago. Went to see his teacher. Thinking of this, Uchiha Choshin seemed to have thought of something again, and ordered Shimura Danzo, "Danzo, you also make a copy of the root ninjutsu, secret techniques and information and send it to me. Remember, it is the information." Uchiha Choshin ordered Shimura Danzo, "Danzo, make a copy of your basic ninjutsu, secret techniques and intelligence information and send it to me." Uchiha Choshin paused and emphasized, "Remember, all the information, including the experimental information that is prohibited by your roots, has also been compiled for you." After saying these words, Uchiha Choshin seemed to have remembered something, and continued, "I don't care about things outside the village. From now on, there should be no more persecution of Konoha village ninjas in the village. For those who are not sure, leave it to the Yamanaka clan, let them check the memory and then deal with it. If you have the ability, use it to people outside, and don't show off your power in the village. Do you understand?" Quote. Shimura Danzo didn't expect that Uchiha Choshin was quite familiar with what he usually did, and he immediately got to the point, so he reluctantly agreed. After finishing the matter, Uchiha Choshin left the training ground directly. He now has the ruler of Konoha village, third Hokage, and the most troublemaking person behind the scenes, Shimura Danzo, under his control. In this way, the safety of Sister Makoto and his children can be said to be greatly guaranteed. In fact, when Uchiha learned that Sister Makoto was pregnant, he wanted to send her directly to the Takamagahara space, so that everything would be safe. However, Sister Makoto was unwilling, because in this way, she would be no different from a prisoner. Moreover, Uchiha Sasuke is about to go to a ninja school. Sasuke's father and brother are both on Uzumaki Island and cannot be by his side. As his mother, Makoto-san is reluctant to abandon Sasuke and let him stay alone in the village. Therefore, for the safety of Sister Makoto, Uchiha Choshin had to take the risk to control both third Hokage and Shimura Danzo to ensure the safety of Sister Makoto in the village. Now that everything is settled, of course Uchiha Fugaku can't wait to return to Sister Makoto's side. Now, Uchiha Fugaku is not at home. As Sasuke's teacher, Uchiha Choshin must of course shoulder his responsibilities and is definitely not worried about his sister Makoto. As the head of the Uchiha clan and a wealthy family with a history of thousands of years, the Uchiha Fugaku family is actually qualified to enjoy the treatment of maids and attendants. It's just that the Uchiha clan, as a ninja clan that needs to fight, avoids being corrupted by these superior treatments, so even though he is the clan leader, Uchiha Fugaku still does not find a maid to come to his home. In fact, if you want to find a maid, everything is readily available. The Uchiha Fugaku family has pure blood and high combat power. Ordinary tribesmen who worship the strong have become their vassals. If you want to find a maid, you can choose among these vassal tribesmen, not only easy to use but also loyal. Now, the patriarch's wife of the Uchiha clan is pregnant, and the patriarch Uchiha Fugaku and the eldest son Uchiha Itachi have led the elites of the Uchiha clan to expand their territory. They are unable to take care of the family, so they find two maids to come to the house to help take care of the pregnant patriarch's wife. With Sasuke, it was a matter of course. So when Uchiha Choshin came to Sister Makoto's house, he saw two pretty little maids added to the house, Uchiha Izumi and Uchiha Yi. Uchiha Choshin knew when he saw Uchiha Izumi that he had changed the plot again. Uchiha Izumi is also a genius. She and Uchiha Itachi should be the same age, but she did not receive corresponding guidance, which led to her lack of fame. In the original work, Uchiha Izumi is a little girl who has an affair with Uchiha Itachi, and is a genius who can open 3 Tomo Sharingan early. But on the night when the Uchiha clan was exterminated, he was killed by Uchiha Obito. When Uchiha Choshin saw the two little maids, he just nodded and didn't show anything strange. Yesterday, Sister Makoto told him that in order to take care of her and Sasuke, she found two maids, but he didn't expect that one of them was Uchiha Spring. Think about it, although Uchiha Izumi's talent is very high, because she did not receive a good education, her strength is not very high. In addition, she has only one mother in the clan, and she is a girl herself, so she is not taken seriously, so she was sent here to be a teacher. The maid is normal. Uchiha Makoto also had some bad tastes, and he did not remind Uchiha Makoto that Uchiha Izumi and Uchiha Itachi were somewhat ambiguous. He also wanted to see what Uchiha Izumi's expression would be like when he saw Uchiha Izumi coming home as a maid when Uchiha Itachi came home. No. I know if it can turn into a drama like, my young master falls in love with me. Since there were two more maids at home, Uchiha Chushin did not show much affection to Sister Makoto. Instead, after finishing the meal in a polite manner, Uchiha stood up and left. Sister Makoto is also a person who wants to have face. There is no need for her to embarrass her. Besides, Sister Makoto is also pregnant and cannot fool around with her. If she really misses Sister Makoto, she can come to her at night or summon Sister Makoto to the space. Anyway, these two maids were only at Sister Makoto's house during the day and went back at night. After Uchiha Choshin went home after eating and drinking, he returned directly to the space. After all, he had already shown his performance clearly and was easily targeted by Uchiha Obito and Black Zetsu. He was not safe at home. He could only be in his own space. Only then can you truly relax. Uchiha Choshin in the Takamagahara space is not idle either. After all, he just got a lot of ninjutsu from the sealed book from the third Hokage, and he can also study it himself. I already know how to use multiple shadow clone. Impure world reincarnation, requires sacrifices, is incomplete, etc. 8 inner gates can be considered and discussed later. In the end, Uchiha Chushin selected Flying Thunder God technique. After all, he is also a person with space. I believe he should be a person with space talent like 4th Hokage Namikaze Minato. I really don't know what the brain of 2nd Hokage Senju Tobirama is doing. Not only did he invent many ninjutsu and forbidden technique, but they also involved different directions, including space ninjutsu, shadow clone, and others involving death and resurrection. Uchiha Choshin doubted who was the time traveler, him or 2nd Hokage. But later, when Uchiha Choshin saw impure world reincarnation, he thought of the possibility that 2nd Hokage used impure world reincarnation. According to records, those who were drowned in the long river of time knew these ninjutsu, secret techniques and forbidden the people of technique, through impure world reincarnation, awakened them and learned and recorded these ninjutsu from them. After all, human energy is limited. Even if 2nd Hokage is a genius, he cannot be a grandmaster in so many aspects of ninjutsu. And he is not only a grandmaster, but also invented it. This makes Uchiha Chushin a little suspicious of 2nd Hokage. But doubts are doubts, and ninjutsu still needs to be learned. After all, 2nd Hokage is dead, and the truth is no longer important. When 2nd Hokage is summoned back by the impure world reincarnation he invented, it will not be too late to ask again. So Uchiha Chushin first wrote down the ninjutsu Flying Thunder God technique that he had memorized in his mind, then held it in his hand and began to learn it silently. Well, this should be related to summoning technique. Well, this pattern should fit the space. Well, this part should be marked in the calibration space. Uchiha Choshin looked up at the time. Well, 10 minutes have passed. Okay, let's learn this today. Let's go read the history of the Uchiha clan. Uchiha, a scumbag, Chushan silently put down the Flying Thunder God Technique Codex in his hand, saying that he had given up and would not struggle anymore. Whatever you want to learn in the future, just copy it directly, otherwise why would you bother opening Sharingan so hard? Uchiha Choshin just stayed in the space like this, sometimes reading a book, sometimes taking a walk on the island, and feeling the body's reaction every moment. Uchiha Chushin could feel that as his body was slowly integrating with Wood-style's blood inheritance limit, there was always an indescribable hot feeling in his body, which made Uchiha Chushin restless. Moreover, Uchiha Chushin can feel that his body strength is slowly increasing, his physique is slowly strengthening, and the vitality in his body is slowly becoming stronger as time goes by. You know, apart from Wood-style, the most powerful thing about the generation of Hokage Senju Hashirama is the powerful vitality in the body, which can achieve Muji healing. Even Uchiha Madara said that no one can kill Senju Hashirama on the battlefield. This is because of his strong vitality. 5th Hokage Tsunade's 100 healings mark is actually modeled after her grandfather Senju Hashirama's Muji healing. Although Yamato's wood style is far from Senju Hashirama, it is still the blood succession limited wood style. In the later stage, White Zetsu was able to use a similar wood style, through several thousand hands, because Yamato was captured and wrapped in White Zetsu's body, so Yamato's wood style should have some of the essence of Senju Hashirama. Moreover, as the vitality in Uchiha Chaoshin's body became stronger and stronger, some chakras that were different from his previous ones gradually grew in his body. The new chakras that appeared were warmer and softer than the previous chakras. The appearance of these chakras made Uchiha Chaoshin's body as stronger and more energetic. Even his eternal Mangekyo Sharingan, as it is nourished by these chakras, seems to be wrapped in warm spring water, just like a rusty machine has been smeared with lubricant and can operate more flexibly and energetically. And Uchiha Chushin can feel that after his eternal Mangekyo Sharingan is continuously nourished by the new wood-style chakra, deep in the Sharingan, the divine power of Mangekyo Sharingan, Susanoo, is also about to move, as if it is opening let go of the shackles and move towards a higher level, the complete Susanoo. No wonder Uchiha Obito's Mangekyo Sharingan was able to be used for so long, because after he was rescued from the battlefield by Uchiha Madara, in order to save his life, he was fused with White Zetsu's body so that Uchiha Obito could use wood style. Wood style's chakra can nourish Sharingan, which enables Uchiha Obito's Mangekyo Sharingan to be used so casually and frequently. If you look at Kakashi, it seems like even one use of Sharingan's Kamui can kill him. And just when Uchiha Chaoshin was restless and uncomfortable due to the burning heat in his body, Uchiha Chaoshin finally felt as if something in his body had reached a critical value, and a kind of power awakened from the depths of his body, and this was the power of wood style. The chakra in the body also increased sharply with the awakening of wood style. You know, Uchiha already had a lot of chakra before Chushan, and later it increased sharply with the continuous upgrading of his Sharingan. Before the awakening of wood style, Uchiha Chushan's chakra can already be said to be comparable to a small-tailed beast. And with the awakening of the wood style in the body, the chakra increases. Now Uchiha Chushin, it should be said that his chakra can already compete with the tailed beasts, and even surpass those of the one tail two tails beast. Fortunately, Uchiha Chaoshin is not in the village. Otherwise, if he fails to control the chakra surge due to the sudden increase in chakra, there will be several Kakashi leaked, which may cause the department that has been on duty to monitor the village for a while. The chicken is flying and the dog is jumping, and the heart is frightened. After waiting for a long time, the chakra fluctuations on Uchiha Chushin slowly subsided. Uchiha Chushin clenched his fists and felt that the power seemed to fill his body. He felt that even if Sage of Six Paths came, he could fight him hard. Just clicked. Of course, Uchiha Chaoshin knew that this was just an illusion caused by the sudden increase in power, but now he could completely walk sideways in the ninja world. Now that he has awakened to the wood style, of course he had to give it a try. Uchiha Chushin was not in a hurry to go back. Instead, he tried the wood style on the island and started greening it by the way. When Uchiha copied wood style before, he also copied Yamato's wood style ninjutsu, so now he can use it directly without having to learn it in person. So Uchiha Chushin directly found a spacious place on the island and experimented with wood style ninjutsu. After some tossing, Uchiha discovered that although he copied Yamato's wood style, the power of his wood style was much stronger than Yamato's wood style. It was estimated to be more than twice as strong, and he unleashed the wood style. It's much easier than Yamato, probably because there are too many chakra things to do. As for why wood style is more powerful than Yamato, Uchiha Chaoshin probably has something to do with his Uchiha clan bloodline and the eternal Mangekyo Sharingan. Since wood style can promote Sharingan, it is not surprising that Uchiha bloodline or Sharingan may also promote wood style. Immortal eyes and immortal body are meant to complement each other, and there is no reason why they can only benefit one side. After Uchiha Chaoshin experimented with wood style on the island, he had nothing to do. On the high point of the island, in a place with pleasant scenery, he used wood style, Leonju House upgraded version of 4 bedrooms and 2 living rooms, Leonju House. After building a large wooden villa that could accommodate more than 10 people, Shishirin returned to his home in Konoha village. When Uchiha Hill came out of the space, the sky was slowly getting dark. Uchiha stretched himself and looked at the sunset in the distance, lost in thought. Since arriving in the Hokage world, today is the most meaningful day for Uchiha Chushin, not only because today he finally controlled the third Hokage and Shimura Danzo. Controlling them in his own hands is equivalent to controlling the entire Konoha village in hand. What's more, he knew today that he had his own child in this world, and this child was his deep bond. But I can't be careless, because there are still many threats outside. Not to mention the old man Six Paths wandering around in the form of chakra throughout the ninja world, just the three immortals in the three holy places, and the Toad Sage. A character from the same period as Sage of Six Paths. Even Sage of Six Paths is dead and exists in the form of chakra, but Toad Sage is still alive today. If you say it is not a threat, who will believe it? Not to mention its strength, Toad Sage's unreliable prophetic dream is a troublesome existence for Uchiha Chushin. You must know that its prophetic dream is the only prophetic ability in the Hokage world. The key is that there is a powerful Jiraiya who just believes in this prophetic dream, even if he pays his life for it, he has no regrets. If Toad Sage is asked to predict something bad for Uchiha Chushin, that Jiraiya will be like a fly that smells something and will rush to trouble him. Even if Uchiha Chushin can dismiss Jiraiya casually, it is estimated that Jiraiya will persevere and call over Tsunade, who is gambling all over the world, and Orochimaru, who is hiding in Sound Ninja Village for experiments. Although Orochimaru does not have much feelings for Konoha village anymore, but if they knew about the existence of Uchiha Aoyama, they would probably come to join in the fun. Tsunade Hime is Uchiha Chushin's next target. If Jiraiya notifies her in advance, it will be difficult to succeed. Although she is suffering from hemophobia, it is probably her excuse to stay and not want to return to the village. Otherwise, even without using the genjutsu of the Uchiha clan, just find a trusted genjutsu master to give Tsunade a psychological suggestion, and the phobia will be cured without medicine. You know, standing behind Sannin are the three holy places, Toad Sage, White Snake Sage and Katsuyu Sage. It should be the #1 village in the ninja world. It has a profound foundation and is the summoning holy land that can be ranked among the best in the ninja world, all included in Konoha village. If they join forces to cause trouble, it will be enough for Uchiha Chushin to have a headache. Not to mention Nagato and Uchiha Obito from the Akatsuki organization. Not to mention Nagato, not only is he a member of the Uzumaki clan, but he also has the only pair of Rinnegan in the ninja world. His abilities are different, but they are all very difficult to deal with. The clone is quite a headache for Uchiha Chushin, and Uchiha Obito, although he also has the space pupil technique, is not afraid of his Kamui, but don't forget, he has inherited the legacy of Uchiha Madara, and I don't know what other tricky methods he can use. If it is not used, it cannot be taken lightly. You know, some people cannot be washed clean, and they can still be forgiven if they have not done anything wrong. For example, Uchiha Itachi, in the original work, no matter how grand his reasons are, it cannot change his decision to kill his parents and clan members. Fact, but now, due to the arrival of Uchiha Hill, Uchiha Itachi no longer has to bear these sins. And Uchiha Obito, no matter how clear he is still a person who killed his master and his wife who was very kind to him. Regardless of Kakashi's feelings for him, no matter how clear he is still a scum living in an illusory world. Therefore, don't overestimate the bottom line of a scumbag. This also means that Uchiha Chushin is not given a chance. As long as Uchiha Chushin is encountered, he will naturally be dealt with. And now, there are still many years before Uchiha Obito launches the Fourth World War, which is enough for Uchiha Chushin to prepare and improve his strength, so that by that time, he can destroy 10 tails with one hand and dance with Uchiha Madara. So now, Uchiha Chushin has to develop slowly and slowly accumulate his own strength. After upgrading his Eternal Mangekyo Sharingan, Uchiha Chushin still has a lot of room for improvement. Uchiha Chushin has already tasted the sweetness of the Blood Style Limited Edition Wood Style. It is at most an incomplete version of the immortal body. The genuine immortal body cannot be found in the entire ninja world. You can only find things related to it, such as Tsunade has the Senju bloodline and the blood constitution of the Uzumaki clan, relatives of the Senju clan. Just looking at Uzumaki Naruto, who has much more chakra than Kakashi, you can tell how scary the Uzumaki clan is. You know, Nine Tails Jinchuriki has always been a member of the Uzumaki clan. Why? Because ordinary ninjas, or the bloodline physiques of other families, simply cannot withstand the chakra of Nine Tails, which illustrates the horror of the Uzumaki family's physique. Why did Uchiha Madara transplant Rinnegan into Nagato? It was because Nagato was also a member of the Uzumaki clan and had a very pure bloodline. Madara also knew that ordinary people simply could not afford to support Rinnegan, so he transplanted it to Nagato. The Rinnegan was transplanted into Nagato, so although the country of Uzumaki was destroyed, many important characters were closely related to the Uzumaki family. Uchiha Chaoshin suddenly remembered that a woman from the Uzumaki clan appeared later and joined Uchiha Sasuke's team. It seemed to be called Xianglin. She should be in Kusanagi village in the country of grass. Since Uchiha Chaoshin plans to copy and learn the blood and physique of the Uzumaki clan, the more people from the Uzumaki clan he collects, the better. And now in Konoha village, only Uzumaki Naruto is a member of the Uzumaki clan, and compared to Konoha, in fact, Uzumaki Naruto's bloodline is not dominant. For example, Xianglian and her mother both have the physical healing power of the Uzumaki clan. No matter how injured you are, you can quickly recover chakra and injuries by biting their skin. And when Karen appeared, he already had the abilities of the Uzumaki family. Kagura's Heart Eye is a very powerful sensory ability, while Uzumaki Naruto only has a huge chakra and a recovery physique that is different from ordinary people, so, Xianglin's Uzumaki bloodline should be purer than Uzumaki Naruto's bloodline. Uchiha Chaoshin is fine now, and Konoha village, the rear area, has been settled by him, and haste makes waste. His strength has improved too fast, and he needs to be stable. Otherwise, he will end up like Otsutsuki Kagaya. Although he was very capable, but lacked combat experience, and was sealed away by two people who were far better than him. Uchiha Chushin is still very relieved about his rear. After all, for him now, the most important thing is Uchiha Makoto. However, he has already marked the space mark on Uchiha Makoto. When Sister Makoto is in danger, with just one thought, Sister Makoto will be teleported back to the Takamagahara space. Even if he is personally protecting Sister Makoto, that's about it. Moreover, he can come back at any time. With the space mark and Eternal Mangekyo Sharingan, even if Uchiha Chaoshin goes out, he can come back every day to have dinner and sleep, and then go back through the space mark the next day, and then go back to the road and do tasks. It's just that Uchiha Chaoshin doesn't want to do this because it is too conspicuous. As one of his trump cards, it is better not to use the space pupil technique frequently outside. Moreover, Uchiha Chaoshin is now a member of Anbu and goes out to do missions in the village. You still have to go through the third Hokage's order. Moreover, it is quite special to go out to do missions by yourself. Uchiha Chushin plans to ask third Hokage to match him with a teammate, so that he will not look so special if he has teammates accompanying him. Uchiha Chaoshin just entered the Anbu base that day, and the purple-haired figure he met also found out his name through third Hokage. It turned out to be Azuki Yugon, who appeared in the tombstone of Moonlight Hayate in the original work. She also just joined Anbu. After Uchiha Chushin saw her that day, she left the village to do a mission. She also just came back recently. Moreover, because the mission she was responsible for was different from that of Uchiha Chushin also invited her. I had several days off, so I didn't encounter him. Uchiha Chaoshin plans to let the third Hokage arrange for Kakashi to lead the team, and he and Azuki Yugon will carry out this mission. Although his pupil technique, Distinguished Heavenly Gods, has entered the cooling period due to controlling the third Hokage and Shimura Danzo, he cannot control Kakashi. Then copy and learn the pupil technique, Kamui, in his eyes, but you can also get close to Kakashi. Maybe you can take the opportunity to learn it sometime. And bringing Uazuki Yugon with her is because she has beautiful women around her to look good. For the current Uchiha Hill, carrying Uazuki Yugon is purely a mascot. However, Uazuki Yugon's swordsmanship seems to be good, and he can also secretly copied. In the Hokage world, samurai and swordsmanship have declined, and there are few swordsman masters left in the entire ninja world. Hitaki Sakumo is one, but unfortunately he was forced to death by Shimura Danzo, and his son Hitaki Kakashi later gave up. Hotake swordsmanship. Otherwise, Hotake Kakashi would not be so weak in the later stage, just like a soy sauce existence, that is, at the end, with the help of Uchiha Obito's Mangekyo Sharingan, he acted handsome and barely saved face. Since he had already planned it, there was no ink mark on Uchiha Hill, so he directly found Third Hokage while it was still dark and asked him to arrange this mission. In fact, Uchiha Chushin doesn't have to go, because there are many people who can run errands for him, but Uchiha Chushin still hopes that he can go out often and do tasks, because this can also serve the purpose of exercising himself, and Uchiha Chushin also you can take advantage of the opportunity to go out to do tasks and mark his spatial mark on the entire ninja world. It will also be convenient for you to go out in the future. This task of marking the space mark can only be done by myself, and there is no way to ask others to complete it. By the time Uchiha Chushin returned to the Uchiha clan's territory, the sky had already darkened. Uchiha Chushin touched his shriveled belly and estimated that Sister Makoto's family had finished eating, so he did not go over to disturb her, but turned around and returned. We left the tribe and headed towards the gathering place for dinner in Konoha village. As for whether to eat yakiniku or ichiraku ramen, Uchiha Chushin only considered for a second. Of course he went to ichiraku ramen. There were no cute little iris in the yakiniku restaurant. When Uchiha Chushin came to the ichiraku ramen shop, it was the busiest time for ichiraku ramen. There was no way. At this time, there were many chunin and genin who had just finished their tasks near the village. Ichiraku ramen was delicious and in charge. The most important thing is that it is not expensive, so it is the first choice for many cash-strapped chunin and genin. Because there were so many people, even the little Calamus was busy running around, her cute little face was flushed, and she looked so pretty. Although his eyes lit up when he saw Uchiha Chushin, his eyes were full of smiles and surprises, but he hurriedly said hello and went back to work. Uchiha Chushin first said hello to the cute Iris, and then shouted to Uncle Ichiraku. Uncle Ichiraku, it's the same as usual, 2 extra large portions of deluxe ramen, one with tonkatsu and one with seafood. Uncle Ichiraku was also very busy there. When he heard that he was an old customer, he greeted him and said, I've told you several times, don't call me uncle, just call me brother. I'm not that old yet. Uchiha Chushin found a seat in the crowd. As he sat down, he said with a smile, little Iris is so cute. I have planned to be my wife in the future. Now I call you big brother. Doesn't it mean that you are a generation higher than her? This is terrible. No. Uncle Ichiraku couldn't help but rolled his eyes when he heard Uchiha Chushin teasing his precious daughter again and ignored him. Xiao Iris, who was running around in the alley and busy working, quickly glanced at Uchiha Chushin. Although he didn't speak, his already red face became even redder. The people who ate at Ichiraku Ramen looked at Uchiha Chushin, and when they saw the Uchiha clan emblem on Uchiha Chushin, they looked away. The Uchiha clan, which has a police force, cannot be offended. Although Uchiha Chushin looked quite easy to talk to, the people next to him still followed the principle of doing more things than doing less, and did not look for trouble or talk to him. Uchiha Chongshin's large portion of ramen was quickly prepared, and was carefully brought over by Xiao Iris. Although the ramen was already in a big bowl, the big bowl was still filled to the brim by Iris, and the juice inside was about to overflow. When Uchiha's large deluxe version of ramen was brought over and placed on the table, the person next to him looked at his own large portion of ramen, but compared with Uchiha's, it looked a little pitiful. The people couldn't help but fell silent. When did the gap between the regular version and the deluxe version become so big? Uchiha Chushin ignored the poor spectator next to him. After looking at each other tacitly, he began to enjoy the food in front of him. Since Uchiha Chushin practiced the lightning-style armor, his appetite has increased day by day. Although his appetite has decreased after completing the first stage of training, Uchiha Chushin has just awakened the blood succession limit wood style today. His chakra and enhancement have increased dramatically. Where does the vitality and energy come from? Of course it comes from the energy normally stored in the body. Therefore, Uchiha Chushin's current body cannot be said to be overstretched, it can also be said that it requires huge energy. And where does the energy come from? Of course, we have to eat more. Uchiha Chushin now felt as if a small paw had been stretched out from his throat, and he was scratching his heart and liver with hunger. Only eating quickly and filling his stomach could comfort him. Uchiha Chushin first picked up a large bowl and took a sip of the rich and delicious tonkatsu soup to soothe his stomach. Then he picked up the chopsticks and started eating as if he was not afraid of being burned. Otherwise, only when you are hungry will you feel the deliciousness of food. Uchiha Chushin quickly ate the first bowl at a speed that ordinary people could not match. When he picked up the big bowl and drank the last mouthful of soup, Iris, who was always paying attention to him, brought the second bowl over in time. When Uchiha was full and put down the bowl with satisfaction, he had already finished 6 large bowls of ramen. Even the well-informed Uncle Ichiraku and Iris were shocked by Uchiha's appetite. After eating and drinking enough, Uchiha Chushin said hello to them and then strolled back to the Uchiha tribe's land as if taking a walk. Early the next morning, Uchiha Chushin reported to the third Hokage. After all, it was his suggestion to go to the land of grass to pick up the fragrant phosphorus. It would not be good to go too late. Besides, it was too casual at the third Hokage. It is also easy to cause dissatisfaction and suspicion from others. When Uchiha came to Anbu to report, third Hokage happened to have come to work in the Hokage building. The first thing he did was to call Kakashi, Uchiha and Azuki Yugon over to arrange tasks. Both Kakashi and Uezuki Yugon had just returned from a mission outside the village, and they didn't know what happened. Kakashi gestured to Uchiha Chushin with his eyes and asked him if he knew anything. Although Uchiha Chushin knew it, he shook his head and said that he didn't know either. So Kakashi called Azuki Shion over from another room so that they could report to third Hokage together. Uchiha Chushin also saw Azuki Yugon for the first time. Although she is a few years younger than Uchiha Chushin, she has already become a beautiful girl. In addition, she has been practicing swordsmanship, so she has a good figure and a girly feeling of lightness. It was also the first time for Azuki Yugon to see Uchiha Hills. Although she had seen Uchiha Hills from a distance before and heard of Uchiha Hills, this was her first time to be so close. When I met the famous Uchiha Chushin, I found that he was only a few years older than me, and he was so good looking. The Uchiha clan was already good looking, and Uchiha Chushin was the best among them. The key was that Azuki Yugon felt that Uchiha Chushin was not like the Uchiha clan she had met before, with a gentle temperament. Suddenly seeing Uchiha Chushin, such a good-looking and comfortable person, although Azuki Shion did not panic, he did blush a little. When Kakashi introduced him, his face kept blushing, even though his face was tight, but the hand she held tightly revealed her nervousness. After a brief introduction to each other, the 3 Kakashi people hurriedly went to meet third Hokage. After all, third generation was still waiting for them. If they wanted to chat, there would be plenty of opportunities in the future. After the third Hokage arrived in the room, the 3 of them didn't waste any time and directly issued an urgent mission to them. Third Hokage took a puff of cigarette as usual, and then introduced the information to the 3 of them. Kakashi, Uchiha Hill, Azuki Yugao, I received an information. It is said that there is another mother and daughter in the Kusanagi village of the country of grass. They are members of the Uzumaki clan of the country of Uzumaki. Their situation is not very good now. Although the country of Uzumaki was destroyed, our Konoha village has always had a friendly alliance with the Uzumaki clan. Therefore, for their safety, I entrust you in the name of third Hokage to bring them safely back to Konoha village. Quote. The third Hokage paused and then said to Kakashi, Kakashi, you also know that the Uzumaki clan has a special physique. Bringing them back will not only strengthen Konoha's power, but also be a good home for their mother and daughter. Kakashi was a little distracted when he was introduced by third Hokage. He didn't expect that this mission was related to the Uzumaki clan. After all, the Uzumaki clan was from his master's clan. Regarding his past memories, he did not dare to touch them, but he did not even if you were willing to forget, you can't forget it. After third Hokage finished introducing the situation, Kakashi had already controlled his memories and did not ask any more questions. After all, there was detailed information on the mission scroll, and he directly replied, Don't worry, Lord Third Hokage, I promise to complete the mission. Now Kakashi still focuses on tasks, and the third Hokage is still very relieved about this. After seeing Kakashi's assurance, he nodded with satisfaction and added, According to the information I got, the mother and daughter of the Uzumaki clan are not in the best condition. Very good, you should set off early and try to save her life. The three Kakashi people said this when they saw third Hokage, and they immediately said goodbye to third generation, then went home to pack their things and gathered at the door. In fact, Uchiha Chushin didn't need to pack his things at all. After all, he had a portable space, but he still had to go back and talk to Makoto-san so as not to worry her. After the three of them agreed on a time, they hurried back to pack their things, because the time that the three of them agreed on was not long and the time was relatively tight. Uchiha Chushin also came directly to Sister Makoto's house. At this time, Sister Makoto had also gotten up and was having breakfast with Sasuke, while Uchiha Izumi and Uchiha Yi were waiting nearby. Uchiha Chushin didn't have time to mess around anymore. Instead, he briefly talked about the situation with Sister Makoto, rubbed Sasuke's head, and went home to pack his things. Not to mention, although Sasuke's temper was always bad in the later period, however, the current little boy Sasuke's hair is still quite soft and not prickly at all. Although Uchiha Chushin didn't need to pack anything, it would arouse suspicion that he didn't bring anything when everyone else was carrying a big bag, so Uchiha Chushin also packed a big bag indiscriminately and went to the gate of Konoha village. Chapter 71. Since the three of Uchiha Chushin were on a normal mission and did not involve any secrets, they followed the normal procedures. The three of them were all on time, and Kakashi was not as late as in the original work. After all, he was still in Anbu, not a relatively free and bright ninja. The country of grass that the three of them are going to is a small country sandwiched between the country of fire and the country of earth. Since it is a small country, it does not have its own special ninjutsu, and is always criticized. The goal of the three Uchiha people this time is to bring the mother and daughter of the Uzumaki clan who are living in Kusanagi village in the country of grass to Konoha village. Since time was urgent and Kosovo's mother's life might be in danger at any time, the three of Uchiha and Chushin hurried on their way as soon as they left the village. Kakashi is a veteran ninja, and Azuki Yugon also specializes in taijutsu and swordsmanship, so he has relatively good physical strength. In the past, Uchiha Chushin's physical skills were weak, and he would definitely be held back in this operation. But since Uchiha Chushin practiced the lightning-style armor, although it is only the first stage, Uchiha Chushin's physical skills have to be upgraded to the Jonin level. Therefore, during this journey, Uchiha Hill was relatively relaxed. When you encounter a place that is pleasing to the eye, you can also use the Takamagahara eye technique to mark a spatial mark. Since all three of them are wearing Anbu's masks, as long as Uchiha is careful, Kakashi and Azuki Yugo won't find out that he has opened the Mangekyo Sharingan and is secretly marking things. Due to the urgency of the mission, the three of them were on their way in a hurry, so it only took them 3 days to arrive at Kalyan village in the country of grass. After arriving at Kalyan village, the three of them did not go directly to negotiate with the leader of the village. Instead, they lurked in secretly to inquire about the situation. Since Kusakure village is a small ninja village, it does not have its own medical ninja like Konoha village. Therefore, the mother and daughter of Konoha who can quickly recover chakra and injuries are particularly important. They believe that Kusagakure village's the leader would not hand over Shang Phosphorus and his daughter to them easily. Although they can negotiate, they should only negotiate after confirming that they can ensure that they can bring their mission goals back. Otherwise, if they negotiate rashly, they will have no choice but to alert the enemy and have their target hidden. The three Kakashi people do not want to use force to suppress others, or use force to solve problems, because this will not only be detrimental to the mother and daughter, but will also push the kingdom of grass to Iwagakure, the kingdom of earth. So the best way now is to secretly take the mother and daughter away without alerting anyone, so that even if the mother and daughter are found in Konoha village in the future, the matter will not make a big fuss. Kakashi and the others waited outside the village of Kusakure after dark. Kakashi asked the two of them to wait while he used the transformation technique combined with the camouflage and visibility technique alternately, and slowly lurked towards Kusakure. Camouflage and visibility is an invisibility technique that the Iwagakure ninja is good at. Kakashi, Uchiha Obito, and early Naruto and Sasuke have all suffered from it, and it is also one of the relatively high-profile invisibility techniques. Kakashi used Sharingan to give him the title of copycat ninja, so it's not surprising that he knows this kind of invisibility technique. In fact, Uchiha Chushin also knows this camouflage and visibility technique, but the risk of being exposed alone is relatively small, so Uchiha Choshin did not compete with Kakashi. This is why Kakashi bullies Kusagakure, which is a small ninja village. It doesn't even have medical ninjas, let alone sealing techniques and barrier techniques. It may not even have many sensing ninjas. If it were a big village, Kakashi would never sneak in like that. Uchiha Choshin and Uazuki Yugao watched Kakashi sneak in and waited patiently. Neither of them spoke. After all, they were near the village, so it was better to be careful. Uchiha Choshin was in a bored daze, thinking in his mind who would be better to copy in the next blood succession limit. The physical bloodline of the Uzumaki clan. Once the mother and daughter are brought to Konoha village, and the third Hokage arranges for Uzumaki Naruto and the mother and daughter to be alone with him, it is estimated that they will be able to get a good bloodline of the Uzumaki clan. Then there's the Hyuga clan's limited edition Byakugan. The Hyuga clan's branch house 1 is not good enough and has defects, blind spots in sight. We still need to copy the clan's Byakugan and see if we can secretly copy Hyuga Hiyashi's. As the leader of the Hyuga clan, the purity of the bloodline should be good. While Uchiha Choshin was thinking wildly, Azuki Yugon secretly looked at Uchiha Choshin's handsome profile from the side. Through the 2 days of contact with Uchiha Choshin, Azuki Yugon found that Uchiha Choshin was different from the Uchiha clan, or the ninjas of the powerful ninja clan, that she had been in contact with before. Other ninjas who came from wealthy ninja families had a domineering arrogance, as if they were superior to others, and they also gave priority to them in everything, looking down on ninjas like them who were from small families and common people. Even if there is something hidden, Uoyuki Shion with a keen sense can still vaguely detect it. But the Uchiha Uyama she came into contact with could not feel this arrogance at all. Moreover, there is not much particularity in traveling and eating. Therefore, Azuki Yugon couldn't dislike Uchiha Choshin. Moreover, she had a keen sense and could feel a warm feeling on Uchiha Choshin's body, which made her feel like she wanted to be close to him without knowing it. Therefore, Azuki Yugon would secretly look at him when he was resting. After all, good-looking people are welcome everywhere, and Azuki Yugon had no reason to dislike him, Uchiha Choshin. Looking at Uchiha Choshin, Azuki Shion silently thought, looking at Uchiha Choshin, he is only a few years older than her. I didn't expect him to be so strong at such a young age. Everyone in Anbu basically knows that Uchiha Choshin's Susanoo can kill Danzo in seconds with a single blow. At his age, he should be getting married soon, right? I don't know if the Uchiha clan is allowed to marry someone from outside the clan. Thinking of this, Azuki Shion felt a little embarrassed and blushed. However, it is human nature to admire the strong, so it is not surprising, let alone a person like Uchiha Choshin who has both good looks and strength, and a good personality, it is reasonable to cause Maoyu Shion's random thoughts. Time passed quietly amidst Uchiha Choshin's plans for the future limits of the blood succession and Azuki Yugao's wild thoughts. When the time came to midnight and the entire Kusagakure village was quiet at night, Kakashi also completed the infiltration mission and secretly joined Uchiha Choshin and the others. Uchiha Choshin always turns on the Sharingan, so Kakashi's camouflage and visibility technique is no different from a 100-watt light bulb in Uchiha Choshin's eyes. So when he came back from Kakashi, Uchiha Choshin had already discovered him. In addition, Kakashi did not control the sound of his footsteps. Azuki Yuyon, who always maintained a certain degree of vigilance, also stopped being crazy and waited for Kakashi with a serious face, close. After Kakashi made a few Anbu gestures and confirmed that it was him, Kakashi came closer and joined Uchiha. In fact, in terms of strength, not to mention the 50-50 Kakashi and Azuki Yugo, Uchiha Choshin alone can almost fight against the entire Kusagakure village and destroy it. However, in this situation, the problem cannot be solved by strength alone. You have to ensure that the goal of this mission, the mother and daughter of Kosovo, are not killed by the furious ninjas of Kusagakure village, as well as Iwagakure of the Earth country next to them. The relationship between the countries is relatively delicate, and we cannot give them an excuse to go to war with the Kingdom of Fire. Therefore, it is safer to pick people up secretly. After Kakashi contacted the two of them, he introduced the situation in Kusagakure village, and marked the location of the target. Finally, he talked about the situation of the Shonglin mother and daughter with a sullen face. I secretly used Sharingan to observe the situation of the two of them carefully. The little girl was doing better, but her mother, the chakra in her body had been almost exhausted by these ninjas from Kusukir village, so we must take immediate measures. Take action, otherwise, the target of this mission will definitely die. Hearing Kakashi's words, Uchiha Chushin didn't say anything. Azuki Yugon, who was listening next to him, rushed to ask, "Suck chakra? Can chakra still be sucked? Is it the secret technique of Kusugakure village?" Uchiha Choshin looked at Azuki Shion with question marks on his face, smiled, and answered for Kakashi, "Our target this time is the Uzumaki clan. The Uzumaki clan has always been our ally in Konoha village, but in the past in 2000, the Uzumaki clan was established in the country of Whirlpool and was destroyed. The surviving members of the Uzumaki clan were displaced and scattered unknown where they are. A person from the Uzumaki clan in Kusukir village should have a talent skill that is rare among the Uzumaki clan, called physical healing. This talent is very powerful. By letting others bite her skin, she can restore the health of the person who bit her. Chakra and injuries, of course, will also consume a certain amount of your own chakra. According to Kakashi, this member of the Uzumaki clan should have been treated as a humanoid drug by the people of Kusukir village. They don't care about her life or death. Otherwise, she would not have reached this point. When Uchiha Choshin finished speaking, Azuki Yugon next to him had little stars in his eyes. There was nothing he could do about it, mainly because Uchiha Choshin's serious look just now was so in line with the look of Azuki Yugon's dream lover. When Kakashi saw Azuki Shion's appearance, he held his forehead helplessly. He had no choice but to do it. Today's little girls are all pretty and like handsome ones. However, Uchiha Chushin's explanation also opened Kakashi's eyes. He only vaguely knew something about Uchiha Chushin and did not have the details of Uchiha Chushin at all. Kakashi was silent for a while, and when no one spoke, he asked in a consultative tone, "What should we do now? This member of the Uzumaki clan is already very weak. If he is allowed to smoke a few more times from the Kusanagi village, he will definitely death. In this case, our mission will fail this time. There is no way." Although Kakashi is nominally the team leader, Kakashi also wants to ask for a piece of Uchiha Chushin. Not to mention that Uchiha Chushin is now the deputy chief of the Uchiha clan. Uchiha Chushin's pair of Mangekyo Sharingan alone cannot be ignored by others. Uchiha Choshin saw Kakashi's attitude and did not stand up to seize power. As long as he could bring the mother and daughter back this time, he could do anything, so he said, "Captain Kakashi, you are the team leader and have rich experience. What do you say? Let's do it." As for Mao Yuxian next to her, she was blinking her big eyes and acting as a decoration. She would do whatever the two seniors asked her to do, and she didn't have to worry about it anyway. Kakashi felt relieved when he saw that Uchiha Chushin had no intention of taking the lead. After all, being strong is one thing, being able to complete the task perfectly is another. Kakashi didn't expect that Uchiha Chushin could still position himself in the task despite being so strong. He couldn't help but feel sorry for Uchiha Chushin. Added some good feelings. Kakashi coughed and continued. The main task now is to rescue these two Uzumaki clan members and bring them back to Konoha village, so this is my arrangement. Uchiha Choshin, you and I will sneak into Kusugakure village later. The time is right now. Let's discuss with these two Uzumaki clan members first to see if they are willing to go to Konoha village with us. If so, we will come together. Leave, if you don't want to. Uchiha Choshin, you can use genjutsu to control them first, bring them out, and then slowly persuade them on the road. Uchiha Choshin heard Kakashi's arrangement and gave him a somewhat different look. It seemed that Kakashi also knew some inside stories about the destruction of the Uzumaki country. Otherwise, he would not be worried that the Uzumaki clan would not follow them. After Kakashi finished talking about Uchiha Choshin's mission, he then said to Azuki Yugao, "Azuki Yugao, your mission is to make some traps on our way back and outside the village to prevent people from Kusugakure from following and chasing us, and then the outside meets us." When Kakashi said this, he paused and asked, "Do you understand? Do you have any other questions?" Seeing that both of them had no problems, Kakashi said loudly, "Okay, now, the mission begins." Then, Kakashi used the camouflage invisibility technique again. He glanced at Uchiha Chushin and found that Uchiha Chushin also used the camouflage and visibility technique. He couldn't help but there were some differences, but he didn't say anything. He gestured to Uchiha Chushin and took the lead towards Kusanagi village. Sneaked in. Uchiha saw Kakashi leading the way, so he followed quietly. Mao Yuxian was left here to prepare for leaving. Kakashi and Uchiha's infiltration went smoothly. After all, Kakashi had already been here once before. In addition, the two Uzumaki clan members lived outside the village, so it was very easy for them to infiltrate. Now, the main task is to persuade these two Uzumaki clan members to follow Kakashi and his party obediently. In this case, more than half of the task is completed. After Uchiha Choshin and Kakashi arrived at the residence of the mother and daughter, they did not care about politeness and went directly to the house without knocking on the door. Since there was only a frail man and a little girl in the house, he didn't notice anything wrong with the arrival of Uchiha and Kakashi. After Uchiha Chushin came to the house, he looked at the furnishings in the room. There were very few things in the room and it was very simple. It could barely accommodate people. It could be seen that the life of their mother and daughter here was actually very difficult. Their goal this time was to cuddle up with each other on a simple bed and fall asleep deeply. Uchiha opened the Sharingan and took a look. The little girl's condition was relatively good, similar to that of a normal child. However, the mother holding her was in much worse condition. It was exactly as Kakashi described. The chakra was thin and her health was extremely poor. Even if chakra is no longer absorbed by the ninjas of Kusakure village in the future, I don't know how long it will take to maintain a healthy body. If they still let them absorb chakra, they will really be close to death. Uchiha and Kakashi walked around the simple room and got a general understanding of the living conditions of the mother and daughter. After the two met, they exchanged tacit glances and looked at the mother and daughter lying on the bed. Two people. Uchiha Chushin came to the bedside, stretched out his hand and gently patted Xiangling's mother on the shoulder, waking her up from her dream. Originally, the mother's body was weak, but as a result, the weaker her body became, the more she slept lightly. Uchiha Chushin gently patted her shoulder, and she was awakened. She looked at the unauthorized intruder in front of her in a panic. The uninvited guest at home had panic in his eyes, but the hand holding his daughter became harder and harder, as if no matter what happened, they could not separate mother and daughter. Originally, Uchiha Choshin was a little unsure about the mother's persuasion, but after seeing the mother's performance, he felt relieved and knew that the purpose of his trip should be accomplished. Uchiha Choshin saw Xiangling's mother looking at him in panic, so he raised his already good-looking face 3 times, showing a gentle smile, acting more harmless, and spoke to Xiangling with a gentle tone. Mother said, "Hello, we are ninjas from Konoha village. We are here this time because we received information that a mother and daughter from the Uzumaki clan are being treated unfairly in Kusagakure village. Therefore, Lord Hokage sent us to hide you. Take me back to Konoha village." Konoha's mother was a little panicked at first, but she calmed down after hearing that the person in front of her was from Konoha village. After Uchiha Chushin finished speaking, Konoha's mother's face had completely cooled down, and she was still hugging her tightly. Breathing the sleeping scent, he said coldly, "Don't bother the ninja-sama from Konoha village. We are fine staying in Kusakure village. We don't need to move to Konoha village. We, the Uzumaki clan, don't have to worry about the third Hokage-sama. Please trouble this ninja-sama from Konoha village. Don't break into other people's houses without permission in the future and make it difficult for others." After saying that, she no longer looked at Uchiha Hill, but looked at the wall next to her, as if in her eyes, the wall in front of her was much more attractive than Uchiha Hill. Uchiha Choshin saw the reaction of Koso's mother and felt as expected. When the Uzumaki kingdom was destroyed, Konoha village's performance was indeed unsatisfactory. It also delayed the Uzumaki clan's request for help, which led to the Uzumaki kingdom being destroyed. To say that the survivors of the Uzumaki clan have no hostility towards Konoha village, that is impossible. The performance of Konoha village, in the eyes of the Uzumaki clan, is a shameless betrayal. How can they have a good attitude towards betrayers? This is why Xiangling's mother, Uzumaki Xiangling, is very weak now. Otherwise, even if they are kicked out, they will be scolded bloody. This is also the reason why there is no trace of the survivors of the Uzumaki clan in the Land of Fire. Even if they live a life of hunger and precarity in other countries, they are not willing to go to the land of fire and rely on the breath of Konoha village. Uchiha Chushin frowned in distress. He actually felt compassion. He didn't want the person in front of him to die so miserably, as if he was eaten alive by others. Otherwise, it wouldn't be difficult to just use an illusion to bring her daughter with her. However, Uchiha Chushin is not the kind of person who is good at persuasion. He will just open the skylight and speak frankly. If the persuasion cannot be successful, it will be more troublesome and directly use Sharingan to take away both mother and daughter hypnosis. Uchiha Chushin pointed to the child she had been holding and said to Xiangling, "Before we came, we had already collected intelligence and knew the situation of you and your child." He looked at the teeth marks on Uzumaki Xiangling's body with some pity. "You should be aware of your current situation. If this continues, you will die soon. Even if you don't cherish your own life, then as a mother, you should also think about your daughter." Uchiha Chushin said, and then looked at the sleeping little Xianglin in her arms, stretched out her hand and pulled the corners of Xiao Xianglin's clothes, revealing several clear teeth marks. These teeth marks, when she was still a little girl, Xiang Phosphorus looked so shocking. "Do you want your daughter to die in such a miserable way like you? You know, you are alive now and can protect her from wind and rain. If you die, what will greet her is not only the pain of losing her mother, but also the pain of losing her mother. With the treatment you left behind, according to the next development, she will not be able to grow up, and will follow in your footsteps and die in a life worse than death." Uzumaki Xiangling is not a fool. After hearing Uchiha Chushin's description, she knew that what he said was very likely to happen. Her face, which was originally cold, became a little more struggling. When she looked at her daughter, her eyes were full of struggle and hesitate. Uchiha Chushin saw that Uzumaki Xiangling showed signs of hesitation and knew there was something going on. Then he said, "If you come to Konoha with your daughter, I guarantee that you will not be treated unfairly. You can also hide your surname and become an ordinary civilian, and your daughter can grow up healthily. It won't be like here, living in fear all day long." Uchiha Chushin paused to let Uzumaki Karen digest what he said, and then asked, "Do you know a person named Uzumaki Shinkuna?" Uzumaki Xiangling heard the name mentioned by Uchiha Chushin and raised her head suddenly. "Do you know Shinkuna? How is she now? Is she doing well?" There were not many members of the Uzumaki clan, not to mention that Uzumaki Shinkuna and she were of the same age. Uchiha Chushin guessed that they might not only know each other, but they might also be very familiar with each other, and they were friends who grew up and played together. Uchiha Chushin guessed well. Uzumaki Shinkuna and Uzumaki Karen did grow up together. Before the Uzumaki country was destroyed, both of them were direct descendants of the Uzumaki clan. The fact that Uzumaki Shinkuna was chosen as the Jinchuriki of Nine Tails shows that the blood of the Uzumaki clan is very pure. Like Uzumaki Mito, the wife of Hokage Senju Hashirama, she is a direct bloodline of the Uzumaki clan. And Uzumaki Kore is able to possess a talent skill that is rarely possessed by the Uzumaki clan, physical healing, and even the daughter she gave birth to, Kore, has physical healing and Kagura's eye. To say that she is not a direct bloodline member of the Uzumaki clan, then no one is. As for why it fell to this point, it can only be said that it was fate. If a princess does not have her own country and family, she is not a princess. Uchiha Chushin faced Uzumaki Xiangling's expectant eyes and sighed silently in his heart. Although he couldn't bear it, he still told her the truth. Uzumaki Shinkuna Senpei is our Jonin of Konoha village, but a few years ago, she and her husband died in order to save Konoha village. Uchiha Chushin saw Uzumaki Kare's eyes dimming again, and then added. However, Uzumaki Shinkuna left behind a son named Uzumaki Naruto, but his situation is not very good. After all, Naruto has not had his parents to take care of him since he was a child, and now he is an orphan without anyone to care for him. Uchiha Chushin paused, looked into Uzumaki Xiangling's eyes and said, "If you move to Konoha village, you can also take care of him." Uzumaki Xiangling fell into silence after hearing Uchiha Chushin's words. Sometimes she looked at her daughter, sometimes she looked at the wall. She didn't know what she was thinking, but what was known was that she was probably struggling fiercely in her heart, and hesitation. After waiting for about a cup of tea, Uzumaki Xiangling breathed a long sigh of relief, as if she had made some kind of decision, raised her head, and looked at Uchiha Chushin with bright eyes. Okay, I promise you, I will take my daughter back to Konoha with you. But even if I go to Konoha, I am just an ordinary civilian. As for what my daughter will do in the future, whether she will be a civilian or a ninja, we, mother and daughter, will wait for once we get to Konoha village and stabilize, we can then make plans. Uchiha Chushin was also very happy to see Uzumaki Xiongling agree. After all, he did not use force and only moved his mouth to accomplish his goal this time, which was also a relatively satisfying feeling. This is also because of his efforts. Uchiha Makoto, the second woman whose tragic fate was changed, and the first person was Uchiha Makoto. At this time, Uchiha Chushin keenly felt that a group of people were quietly gathering around the house. Although they did not make any movement, Uchiha Chushin, who was very sensitive, sensed that something was wrong. Uchiha Chushin frowned. Originally, this mission was almost completed, but unexpectedly, something unexpected happened at the end. If it was just him and Kakashi, he could easily break through the siege and ensure that the people surrounding him would not catch a single flaw. However, there was still a target for this mission in the room, and he had already succeeded in persuading them. As long as their mother once the woman was safely brought to Konoha village, she would have completed the mission. But if they take their mother and daughter with them when they break out, the number of people who break out will increase significantly, and the safety of their mother and daughter cannot be guaranteed. Thinking of this, Uchiha Chushin secretly had a plan. He first gave Kakashi a gesture to tell him that something unexpected had happened, then he formed a seal and used multiple shadow clone, and 2 clones appeared, and then the 2 clones appeared again. Using the transformation technique, they turned into 2 well-packed ninjas wearing rock shinobi costumes. Under the doubtful eyes of Kakashi and others, the 2 transformed rock shinobi opened the door of the house, walked out openly, and closed the door behind them. The 2 of them stood at the door, and one of them said loudly, "Mouse hiding in the dark, stop hiding. The uncles have already discovered you. The people in your Kalyan village are all hiding in the gutter." Guy. Hearing this man's shouting, the people hiding in the surrounding Kusanagi village knew that they had been exposed, so they stopped hiding. The rustling people all came out and stood around the house. Uchiha Chushin the clone glanced around and saw that there must be 30 or 50 people around. When the people outside came out and surrounded the house, Kakashi glanced at Uchiha Uyama in surprise, and finally met Uchiha Uyama's eternal Mangekyo Sharingan. Kakashi immediately felt a sense of dizziness and screamed inwardly. He didn't expect that Uchiha Chushin would attack him at this time. After all, now is the time when he is surrounded by enemies. They should unite together, cooperate with each other, and help each other to get through this difficulty. Uchiha Chushin took advantage of Kakashi being dazed by his own genjutsu, and knocked out Kakashi, who was caught off guard with a knife. In fact, with Uchiha's genjutsu skills, he can completely defeat Kakashi, but the genjutsu competition involves mental strength. If one of them fails, or Kakashi resists too fiercely, it will easily leave Kakashi with mental trauma. So Uchiha Chushin chose to use genjutsu to make Kakashi a little trance, and then used physical therapy to send Kakashi into sleep, believing that Kakashi would have a dream that would be beneficial to physical and mental health. After Uchiha knocked Kakashi unconscious, he then used a genjutsu on Uzumaki Kore, who had not yet reacted, and sent her into sleep. Since Uzumaki Kore's mental power is far different from Uchiha Chushin's, and her physical body is even more pitiful, Uchiha Chushin can easily knock her out without hurting her. Then Uchiha Chushin didn't care about the chirping outside the door. He held Kakashi in one hand and Uzumaki Xiongling and Xiao Xionglan in the other. He scanned the room and saw that there was nothing he needed to bring, so he directly used the pupil technique. Gao Tianyuan teleported directly into the newly built villa on the island, leaving everyone in Kalyan village with 2 shadow clones and an empty room. Uchiha Okayama's shadow clone sensed that the main body had left, and he breathed a sigh of relief in his heart, and then let himself go. With his current transformation into Rock Shinobi, he began to show off his acting skills. Shadow Clone held his hands in front of his chest, without any defense, as if he was facing some insignificant people. His tone was arrogant and a little arrogant, and he said loudly, "You fools of Kusagakur village, let me tell you, Grandpa Rock Shinobi, how did you find out about our infiltration? Grandpa's camouflage and visibility technique is famous even in the village. Even Master Tsuchikage praised it. Just because of your little Inkalyan village, it is impossible to easily discover the uncle. Seeing Rock Shinobi, who was still extremely arrogant and uttering arrogant words while being surrounded, the ninjas of Kusagakur village surrounding him also gritted their teeth in anger. One of the young ninjas surrounding him could no longer bear the arrogance in front of him. He stood up and said sarcastically, "No matter how powerful your camouflage and visibility technique is, you can't escape the secret technique of our grass-hidden village. As long as you touch if you go to the grass around our Kusanagi village, you will be sensed by us. We have easily cracked the bullshit ninjutsu. If we hadn't gathered people and quietly surrounded this place, we would have captured you long ago." Quote. There was a middle-aged man who looked like a leader next to him. When the young man stood up, he just wanted to stop him from telling the information. But then he thought about it. People in these villages basically knew that as long as someone inquired carefully, they could easily ask the young man to tell him, which could be used as a deterrent, so he no longer had the urge to stop him. After the young man from Kusakur village finished speaking, the leader of Kusakakur village also stood up and asked, "I wonder what the two of you from Iwagakure did to sneak into our village late at night." Uchiha Choshin Shadow Clone was already very happy when he heard the words of the young ninja from Kusagakur village. He didn't expect him to be so amused that he easily told the reason why they were exposed. Then he heard the question from the leader of Kusagakur village. Uchiha Choshin thought about it and asked in a questioning tone. "You still want to question us, Iwagakure? We haven't caused you trouble yet. Do you know who the people living in this house are? They are fugitives left over from the destroyed Uzumaki clan of the Uzumaki country. Why is your Kusagakur village like this? Do you take them in because you are dissatisfied with our big countries, or do you want to follow in the footsteps of the Whirlpool country and taste the feeling of being destroyed?" Of course the leader of Kusagakur village knows the identities of Uzumaki Kore and the others. After all, the Uzumaki clan's iconic red hair is too conspicuous, and their special medical methods represent their specialness. It's just that there are no medical ninjas in Kusagakur village. Even if there are, the therapeutic effect is not as good as that of the Uzumaki woman. Therefore, the leader of Kusagakur village simply treats her as a humanoid drug with significant therapeutic effects, waiting for her to die one day. Just throw it away. It's just that the leader of Kusagakur village didn't expect that such a trivial matter would be discovered by the people of Rock Shinobi village. He also knew that the Uzumaki clan was not welcomed by these big countries. After all, when the Uzumaki country was destroyed, there was quite a commotion, but he didn't expect that the people in Rock Shinobi village would still hold on to them and take them out. Talk about things. He also felt a little uncomfortable in his heart. You big countries swallowed up the kingdom of Whirlpool directly back then and ate a lot of meat. Now you don't even leave us any soup. While the shadow clone of Uchiha Hill was entangled with everyone in Kusagakur village, Uchiha Hill Yamamoto had already brought these people who had been knocked unconscious by him to the villa on Takamagahara Island. Uchiha Chushin first threw Kakashi to the ground, and then carefully placed Uzumaki Xiangling and her daughter on the bed. After confirming that neither mother nor daughter showed any signs of waking up, they carried Kakashi to another room. Originally, Uchiha Chushin already possessed the space pupil technique, so he was not very anxious about Kakashi and Uchiha Obito's Kamui, but by chance, in order to ensure the safety of Uzumaki Karen and his daughter, he had to knock them out and take them away. Now that Kakashi has been knocked unconscious, let's copy his pupil technique Kamui, so that Kakashi will not be wary of him in the future and will not be able to attack him. Uchiha first placed Kakashi on the floor, face up. Then he directly took off the forehead protector covering his left eye, and then gently opened Kakashi's left eyelid, revealing his Sharingan. Uchiha Choshin saw the 3-tomo Sharingan that was still open when Kakashi was unconscious, and the corner of his mouth twitched. If it goes on like this, with Sharingan as a mana-consuming man, no wonder Kakashi is so weak. He is such a genius. That's it. It's a waste. Uchiha Choshin did not hesitate, took a deep breath, then opened his eternal Mangekyo Sharingan, faced Kakashi's 3-tomo Sharingan, and then slowly released some eye power, slowly but continuously inputting Kakashi of Sharingan. Although Kakashi is still in a coma, his Sharingan started to spin under the stimulation of Uchiha Hill. With the continuous stimulation of Uchiha Hill, 3-tomo Sharingan turned faster and faster, and finally seemed to exceed at a certain limit. The three Tomo Sharingan Magatama spun faster and connected together, finally turning into the shape of a large triangular windmill, shining brightly. Uchiha Chushin quietly admired the exquisite Mangekyo Sharingan in front of him for a while. This Sharingan is the only space system Mangekyo Sharingan other than Uchiha Chushin. Among many Sharingan, it is also a treasure-level existence. Uchiha Chushin estimates that he will not have many opportunities to appreciate this Sharingan in the future. Now that he has the opportunity, of course he must appreciate it more. Uchiha Chushin didn't waste any more time. Azuki Yuyan was still waiting for them outside Kusakure village, so she couldn't wait any longer. After Uchiha Chushin appreciated Kakashi's Sharingan, he directly activated his eternal Mangekyo Sharingan and began to copy the pupil technique hidden in the depths of the Sharingan in front of him, Kamui. It should be said that it is indeed a Sharingan that contains Kamui-I technique. Uchiha Chushin can feel that the Sharingan in front of him is the Mangekyo Sharingan with the greatest potential and foundation he has ever seen. Since Uchiha Chushin's Sharingan was upgraded to Eternal Mangekyo Sharingan, this was the first time he encountered such a difficult-to-replicate pupil technique. Uchiha Chushin waited for a long time before the system belatedly received an improvement. Congratulations to the host for successfully copying the pupil technique, Kamui. The system is learning and digesting it. It is expected to be available in 22 hours. Uchiha breathed a sigh of relief when he heard the system's rising sound. This Kamui space pupil technique is really unexpectedly profound. After waiting for so long, I thought I would fail to copy it, but in the end I succeeded. Uchiha Chushin doubted how Uchiha Obito awakened such a powerful pupil technique at that time. It is estimated that Sharingan evolved into Mangekyo Sharingan. When he awakened pupil technique, it was because it was supported by the two geniuses Uchiha Obito and Kakashi and the negative influence of the two. It was an emotional outburst that brought this rare pair of spatial pupil skills to the world. Uchiha breathed a sigh of relief. Fortunately, he knocked Kakashi unconscious and brought him into the space. Otherwise, if something unexpected happened after such a long time, he would not regret dying. The leader of Kusagakure village looked at Rock Shinobi standing at the door of the house, uttering arrogant words. He could no longer bear it. He knew that if these two Rock Shinobi were allowed to run away today, countless people from Rock Shinobi village would be waiting for them. Clear trouble. The leader of Kauyan village secretly glanced at a stout subordinate, signaling him to kill the person in front of him. And this person was not without scheming. After receiving the instructions from the leader, he led the people around him to the front and shouted, "You two guys invaded our Kauyan village without permission and don't know what bad things you want to do. If you still dare to question us, I advise you to surrender immediately, so that we in Kusagakure village can consider saving your lives and let your Rock Shinobi village people pick you up." The shadow clone of Uchiha Hill had not yet had enough of acting. When he heard the doubts and persuasion from the people of Kusagakure in front of him, he immediately picked up his weapons and shouted, "How dare you, you fools of Kusagakure, take action. I tell you, there are only Rock Shinobi who died in the battle, and there are no cowards who surrendered, come on." As he said that, he raised his weapon, as if he wanted to rush over and fight for his life, but in fact his feet didn't even move. The short and stocky ninja in Kusagakure village was in a dilemma when he saw the Rock Shinobi in front of him trying to fight for his life. He didn't know whether he should go up or not. Go ahead. The person in front of him was from Rock Shinobi village, one of the 5 major countries. If he really killed, I don't know what the consequences will be if I kill them, but if I don't do it, I will really lose my face. Facing such crazy people, I don't dare to do anything, and I won't have to hang out in the village in the future. The stocky ninja thought of the leader's order, gritted his teeth, raised the weapon in his hand, and shouted, "Even if you were a ninja from Rock Shinobi village, you are still a spy who broke into our village without permission, and our Kusagakure village is not afraid of trouble. People, kill." As he said that, he took the weapon and rushed towards the Rock Shinobi in front of him. Just when the stocky ninja was holding a weapon to cut down the Rock Shinobi, the stocky ninja suddenly noticed that the expression on the face of the person in front of him suddenly became calm, and there was no longer the arrogance and impending look. He was frightened by being chopped, but there was a hint of joking in his eyes, and the corners of his mouth were slightly raised. Seeing the appearance of this Rock Shinobi, the stocky ninja couldn't help but feel a little bit in his heart. Although he didn't know what he did wrong, he felt that he had been fooled. At this moment, the weapon in his hand also struck the rock shinobi's body. There was no blood spattering and no bloody flesh. The two rock shinobi standing at the door of the house turned into a puff of white smoke and disappeared. The ninjas of Kusugakure who crowded around the house disappeared immediately when they saw rock shinobi in front of them, and the scene immediately became quiet. Everyone present was thinking, didn't we just speak arrogantly and unscrupulously? Where are the people? Isn't it just rock shinobi who died in the battle? Where are the people? The scene was a little embarrassing at one time. The leader of Kauyan village standing next to him had a livid face. If he hadn't realized that he had been tricked at this time, he would not be worthy of being a leader. He reacted immediately and shouted, "Don't be stunned. Come into the house and take a look. Don't let them escape." The people next to him also suddenly realized, leaving some people to guard, while the rest quickly entered the house to search. The leader of Kauyan village also knew that if he searched at this time, it would be unlikely to find anything, but he still had a question in his mind. How did they escape when they were surrounded? I don't know when this mystery will be solved. Just when Uchiha's shadow clone disappeared, Uchiha had just copied Kakashi Sharingan's pupil technique Kamui. When Uchiha Chushin got the memory of shadow clone, he also had a dark look on his face. He didn't expect that after letting himself go, he would become a drama queen, and he was still very good at playing. However, after knowing that his shadow clone was broken, Uchiha Chushin knew that he had to hurry up and quickly go to join Azuki Yugon, otherwise this little girl would be found by the ninjas of Kusugakure village who had been tricked by him. I don't know if the little girl can handle it. Uchiha Chushin felt his Sharingan and felt that he had benefited greatly from copying Kakashi's Kamui this time. Although it was impossible for his Sharingan to evolve upwards at once, he had also made a big step forward. Uchiha first helped Kakashi put on his front head protector and covered his left eye. Of course, he also took off Kakashi's mask and took a look at his true appearance. He was indeed quite handsome. He was about to catch up with him. After Uchiha Chushin packed up Kakashi, he still carried him and returned to the room where Uzumaki Xiongling and his daughter were staying. He picked them up and took a look around to make sure nothing was missing. The spatial imprint left nearby quietly returned. After Uchiha Chushin brought them back, he glanced around and made sure that no one was there, then rushed towards the place agreed with Azuki Yugon. You must quickly meet up with Uoyuki Shion and run away quickly, otherwise, Kauyan village will definitely organize people to search the surrounding areas as long as they are not stupid. Since he knocked Kakashi unconscious, he lost one combat power and gained another burden, so it was better to escape quickly. Anyway, his mission this time has been completed, and by the way, he also copied Kakashi's Sharingan eye technique. Came here, it was an unexpected surprise. Uchiha Chushin took 3 people and ran to the appointment with Azuki Yugon without any burden. After meeting Uezuki Yuyan and confirming their identities, Uchiha Chushin didn't talk much. He just handed over Uzumaki Xiangling's mother and daughter. He gave it to Azuki Yugao, and he turned Kakashi from his feet to his back. Uchiha Chushin and Uezuki Yugao ran at full speed towards a place far away from Kusugakure village. Since Uchiha Chushin has trained in lightning style armor, his physical fitness is very good, and Azuki Yugo has been practicing swordsmanship all year round, so his physical fitness is also very good. So the two of them carried Kakashi on their backs and hurried on without any pressure. After the two of them ran for several hours and changed directions several times along the way, and after confirming that there was no one following them, they found a secret place and stopped to rest. After Kakashi and Uzumaki Kore's mother and daughter were settled, Kakashi woke up once during this period, and was coaxed to sleep by Uchiha Chushin's illusion. Azuki Yugon asked about Uchiha Chushin's mission and Kakashi's condition. Uchiha Chushin lit a fire and told her the matter. Of course, he did not tell her in detail about the Takamagahara space and who knocked Kakashi unconscious. The bonfire was beeping in the open space. After Uchiha Chushin and Uezuki Yugon settled Kakashi and the others, they sat aside to rest. After all, they had carried Kakashi and the others on their backs for several hours, so even if they were not physically fit, they very good, but also a little tired. After the two of them rested for a while, Kakashi, who was placed next to him, finally woke up from his coma. Kakashi was placed next to the campfire by Uchiha, with a blanket placed under him. When Kakashi woke up, he groaned, covered his neck with his hands, and got up from the ground in pain. Just as Kakashi slowly got up from the ground, his brain finally recalled what happened before he fell into coma. Kakashi quickly put down the hand covering his neck, jumped up quickly, took out a kunai from his ninja bag, and looked at the surrounding environment with vigilance. The surrounding environment surprised Kakashi. He thought that even if he was not in the prison of Kusakura village, he would be tied tightly to an inaccessible place by Uchiha Choshin. After all, it was Uchiha Choshin who knocked him unconscious. Kakashi suspected that there is a possibility that Chushan will betray Konoha village and become a rebel ninja. And his fate will not be easy. As a member of the Hokage family, he has great value no matter where he is, whether it is the information and ninjutsu in his head, or his status in Konoha village. When Kakashi saw the surrounding environment clearly, he couldn't help but be stunned. There were no enemies around, and he was not locked up or restricted in his personal freedom. There were only the deserted environment around them and Uchiha Chushin and Izuki Yugao looking at them on the other side of the bonfire. Not far away from them, Uzumaki Kore and her daughter were resting quietly. However, Kakashi did not relax his vigilance. He held a kunai in his hand and looked warily at Uchiha sitting on the other side. He still remembered that the person in front of him knocked him unconscious while he was not paying attention. So in his opinion, Uchiha Chushin is his enemy, and he has reason to suspect that Uchiha Chushin has betrayed Konoha village. Uchiha saw Kakashi's attitude. Before he could question him, he put down the fire stick in his hand and stood up. He patted the dirt on his butt and without giving Kakashi a chance to speak, he walked directly to the woods to the side. He walked over and said, "Senior Kakashi, come with me. I have something to tell you." Then he turned around and told Uezuki Shion, Senior Kakashi and I will come as soon as we go. You should keep an eye on them, mother and daughter, and be alert. Izuki Yugon also felt that something was wrong in the atmosphere. Kakashi-senpai's reaction was too strange. She knew that something must have happened between Uchiha Choshin and Kakashi, but she didn't know. However, she still believed in the two seniors, so she nodded obediently to express her understanding. Kakashi watched Uchiha Chushin walk towards the woods without any precautions. He hesitated and followed Uchiha Chushin, but he didn't follow too closely and kept a safe distance. Uchiha Choshin and Kakashi came to the woods one after another. Uchiha Choshin stopped in a deserted place, then turned around and looked at Kakashi who was following him, holding a kunai in his hand, and looking at him warily. The two faced each other from a distance, and Uchiha Chushin spoke first. "Kakashi-senpai, first of all, I want to apologize to you. I'm sorry that I knocked you unconscious without your consent," Uchiha Choshin said and bowed slightly to Kakashi. Kakashi saw Uchiha Chushin's behavior, looked at him quietly, and suddenly said, "Uchiha Chushin, I need an explanation. I can't accept a teammate and partner who knocked me out for no reason." When Uchiha heard Kakashi's words, he knew that there was room for relaxation, so he said to Kakashi sincerely, "Senior Kakashi, you also know the environment we faced at that time. There were at least 40 or 50 people surrounding us. We, seniors, are we able to escape safely with the mission objectives under the circumstances?" Kakashi was silent for a moment after hearing Uchiha Chushin's words, and shook his head. "Under the circumstances at that time, even if I tried my best, there was no guarantee that I could escape unscathed, let alone the two mission targets who were weak." Quote. Uchiha Choshin heard Kakashi's words and said, "You can't, but I can." Then he faced Kakashi sincerely. "Senior Kakashi, I had no choice but to do so. My secret technique is closely related to the Uchiha clan. If the information about my secret technique is leaked, our Uchiha clan will be at a lot of risk, so that I could use secret techniques to take you out, I knocked you out." In fact, Uchiha Choshin was also fooling Kakashi. With his chakra power and the various ninjutsu he mastered, even without using the pupil technique in Susanoo, he was able to escape from the situation just now with Uzumaki Kore, her daughter, and Kakashi. It's just that the noise caused by this is a bit loud, and some unimportant trump cards will be exposed. What's more, why use complicated methods when there are simple ways? And he took the opportunity to knock out Kakashi and copy his pupil technique Kamui, which was a win-win situation. Kakashi was a little helpless when he heard Uchiha Chaoshin's reasons. He also knew that everything was mission-oriented, but knocking him out this time made him very uncomfortable. Seeing that Uchiha had convinced Kakashi and knew that he had to give him some sweet dates, he continued, "Kakashi-senpai, I just found something bad for you when you were in a coma. Do you want to listen?" One time. Kakashi is also a smart man. Hearing Uchiha Chushin's words, he was silent for a moment and said in a solemn voice, "Is it about the Sharingan in my left eye?" Uchiha Chushin nodded. It seems that Kakashi-senpai also felt it. "I checked your Sharingan when you were unconscious. Don't get me wrong. Since our Uchiha clan has given this Sharingan to you, then I won't do anything reneging on my word again. I was just curious and simply checked it out." Kakashi nodded, a little depressed. After all, this Sharingan was a gift from Uchiha Obito, and his teammate, Uchiha Obito, was buried on the battlefield forever. Of course, this is what Kakashi thinks. Seeing that Kakashi didn't speak, Uchiha Chaoshin continued, "When I checked your Sharingan, I found that even if you were unconscious, the Sharingan was not closed. This may be because you do not have the blood of the Uchiha clan, so that Sharingan cannot be closed." Uchiha Chushin paused and then said, "While I was checking, I also discovered something that surprised me. If this matter is known to other members of the Uchiha clan, I don't know how much trouble it will cause." Uchiha thought about it and decided to tell Kakashi that the Sharingan owned by Kakashi was the Mangekyo Sharingan, because even if he didn't tell Kakashi, in a few years, when the Sharingan and Kakashi have almost run in, Kakashi will find out the secret of this Sharingan. He wanted to see if Kakashi had discovered the secret of the Sharingan a few years in advance. He was looking forward to the subsequent plot. Anyway, the world had already made him a mess, and it was no less than this. Moreover, he also wanted to know, what if Kakashi masters the Sharingan's pupil technique, Kamui, can he pull out Uchiha Obito from behind the scenes in advance? Thinking of this, Uchiha Chushin is also full of expectations for future changes. Then, Uchiha Chushin said to Kakashi with a serious face, "Senior Kakashi, you must have also felt that the Sharingan in your body may be because you do not have Uchiha bloodline, so it cannot be closed. It is constantly changing. It consumes your chakra, which indirectly causes your strength to increase very slowly, and it also reduces your chakra amount, so you will be very passive when encountering more difficult enemies." After Uchiha Chushin finished speaking, he looked straight at Kakashi. "If you still insist on keeping this Sharingan, it will have a great impact on your future. In the future, your probability of becoming a cage level expert will be very low, and even if you enter cage level, you will still be at the bottom." Kakashi closed his eyes in pain when he heard Uchiha Chushin's words. Even though he was well prepared, facing this cruel reality, it was still a little hard to accept. After all, becoming a strong man is what everyone in this ninja world wants. What he yearns for and pursues, and he has to make a choice here, whether to keep Uchiha Obito's relics and be unable to improve his strength, or to give up this Sharingan, pick up the Hitaki sword technique that he is good at, and pursue strength again. The powerful path. Kakashi was silent for a while, raised his hand to cover his Sharingan, and said in a hoarse but firm voice, "I choose to keep this Sharingan that Obito left for me. I don't believe it, just because of this Sharingan, so that my strength cannot be improved in the future, even if it is unable to be improved and my path to becoming stronger is cut off, I will not regret it." Uchiha Chushin knew that Kakashi would choose this path. He nodded with satisfaction and said with a smile in his voice, "I knew you would choose this path. In fact, it is not so absolute. This Sharingan is just you. It is a stepping stone to becoming stronger, not a roadblock. As long as you cheer up and stop being decadent, you can still overcome it." Then, Uchiha Chushin's face also became serious. "Then, I will tell you the biggest secret of this Sharingan now. It is possible that through this secret, you will find a path that suits you and become stronger again." Uchiha Chaoshin saw that Kakashi's face had become serious, so he opened his Mangekyo Sharingan towards Kakashi. Of course, it is just turned on and not used on Kakashi. When Kakashi saw Uchiha Chushin open his Mangekyo Sharingan again, his body became alert, but he remembered that he had been knocked down by his Mangekyo Sharingan before. He quickly turned his face in another direction, and his whole body immediately became nervous. He stood up and took a defensive stance with the kunai in his hand. Seeing Kakashi's reaction, Uchiha chuckled softly and comforted him in a soft voice. Kakashi-senpai, don't be nervous. I really have no ill intentions towards you. If I wanted to do anything to you, you would have had no chance. Standing here. Of course Kakashi knew that what Uchiha Chushin said was right, but he couldn't accept that he was knocked down by Uchiha Chushin without the ability to resist at all. Kakashi reached out and lifted up his forehead protector, revealing his Sharingan. Then, Kakashi turned his head, but still did not dare to look at Uchiha Chushin, but looked down at his feet. After all this was done, Kakashi said, Uchiha Chushin, I know that you are a genius of the Uchiha clan. Although you are younger than me, you have awakened Mangekyo Sharingan. Your strength is even in Konoha village. The top batch, I am far from your opponent, but you should not open your Mangekyo Sharingan for no reason. If you do this, it will be difficult for me not to doubt your intentions. Uchiha Choshin saw that Kakashi was avoiding his Mangekyo Sharingan like a snake and scorpion, and chuckled. It seems that Kakashi-senpai is more afraid of my Mangekyo Sharingan. I wonder how much Kakashi-senpai knows about the Mangekyo Sharingan of our Uchiha clan. Kakashi still kept his gaze on Uchiha Chushin's feet, not daring to meet his eyes. Knowing that Uchiha Chushin didn't have much hostility towards him, although he still didn't dare to let down his guard, he breathed a sigh of relief and replied, actually, I didn't know much about it before. I only knew that Uchiha's Sharingan has Magatama to 3 Magatama. But since you used Susanoo outside the village and killed Danzo and the others with 1 strike, I learned from Lord 3rd Hokage that your Uchiha clan's Sharingan has more. The high form is called Mangekyo Sharingan, but it seems that Mangekyo Sharingan is difficult to awaken. Even among the Uchiha clan, it has not appeared for many years. And the Susanoo you used that day was the ability of Mangekyo Sharingan. Uchiha Choshin nodded unconsciously when he heard Kakashi's words. He didn't expect that Kakashi already knew Mangekyo Sharingan so thoroughly. Uchiha Choshin doesn't know, but what Kakashi knows is all the information left by 2nd Hokage Senju Tobirama to 3rd Hokage. Since 3rd Hokage arranged Uchiha Choshin for Kakashi, of course he will also tell Kakashi the relevant information. Uchiha waited for Kakashi to finish speaking, and praised, I didn't expect that you know Sharingan better than most of our Uchiha clan members. The Sharingan of Uchiha Obito is not buried in you. Uchiha Choshin paused and then asked, then do you know why I opened my Mangekyo Sharingan in front of you for no reason? Kakashi was also a little confused and shook his head, I don't know why you opened Mangekyo Sharingan. After all, Mangekyo Sharingan is the ultimate blood successor limit of your Uchiha clan. It should consume a lot of chakra to open and use it. Since you are right, I'm not hostile and you're not planning to take action against me, so I don't know why. No matter how imaginative Kakashi was, he never imagined that the Sharingan he owned was not an ordinary 3-tomo Sharingan, but a Mangekyo Sharingan, which was an extremely precious treasure even among the Uchiha clan. Uchiha looked at Kakashi's confused expression and did not hide it anymore. Instead, he said straightforwardly, word for word. Kakashi-senpai, after my inspection, I found that your Sharingan is not an ordinary 3-tomo Sharingan, but a Mangekyo Sharingan just like my eyes. But because you don't have Uchiha's bloodline, and you haven't interacted with me yet. This Sharingan is well worn, so it doesn't reveal its power and its built-in eye skills. Kakashi touched his Sharingan in confusion. He did not expect that the Sharingan that Uchiha Obito gave him and had been with him for many years turned out to be Mangekyo Sharingan. He wanted to wonder if Uchiha Chushin's words were misunderstood, or if he was deliberately deceiving him, but what was his purpose? Moreover, Uchiha Chu Yamamoto was the genius who opened Mangekyo Sharingan, and now he is the deputy chief of the Uchiha clan. Whether it is strength, power, or future development, he is incomparable. Uchiha Choshin also saw Kakashi's disbelief and confusion, and shouted, Kakashi, look at me, I will use my Mangekyo Sharingan as a guide to drive your Sharingan. When your Sharingan reveals its true face, you will do everything. Clear. When Kakashi heard what Uchiha Chushin said, he was also eager to know the truth and what was going on. He gritted his teeth, raised his head, and focused his eyes on the Mangekyo Sharingan of Uchiha Chushin. When Uchiha Choshin copied Kakashi Sharingan's pupil technique before, he had already activated his Sharingan and evolved his Sharingan into Mangekyo Sharingan, so he was familiar with it this time. After Uchiha Choshin faced his Mangekyo Sharingan, he mobilized his Mangekyo Sharingan to connect with Kakashi's Sharingan. Of course, this was all agreed by Kakashi. If Kakashi did not agree, even with Uchiha Choshin's eternal Mangekyo Sharingan cannot affect Kakashi. After Uchiha Choshin connected Kakashi's Sharingan with his pupil power, he silently activated his Mangekyo Sharingan. Slowly, Kakashi's Sharingan was also slowly rotating. Slowly, the rotation speed was getting faster and faster, faster and faster. As the Sharingan rotated faster and faster, Kakashi clearly felt that after his Sharingan reached a limit, it easily broke through. Then, Kakashi felt his Sharingan heat up, and then looked inside the Sharingan. The world suddenly becomes different when you arrive, just like a person with 800 degrees of myopia who suddenly puts on suitable glasses and sees clearly the essence of the world and the high-definition scenery from far and near. And Kakashi could clearly feel that just when his Sharingan broke through the limit, an awkward but refreshing feeling told him that deep inside his Sharingan, there was something that was neither a ninjutsu nor a secret skill. A powerful existence. Kakashi suddenly thought of what Uchiha Choshin said just now, and understood that this is the exclusive eye technique of this Mangekyo Sharingan. At this moment, Uchiha suddenly formed a seal with his hands and used water style to summon a wall made of water between the two. The water wall was calm and waveless and could be used as a mirror. Kakashi saw the wall of water summoned by Uchiha Hill and looked at his own image reflected on it. Everything else was normal, only his Sharingan had changed. The Sharingan, which was originally a 3-magatama, turned into another pattern, like it turned into the shape of a large triangular windmill. It not only looked better than before, but also had a breathtaking power. After Uchiha saw that Kakashi had clearly seen the appearance of his Sharingan, he slowly stopped the rotation of his eternal Mangekyo Sharingan. As the rotation stopped, the pupil power connected to Kakashi was also cut off. Then, I clearly felt that my Mangekyo Sharingan was running slower and slower, and the pupil technique I could feel was becoming more and more blurry. Finally, it degenerated into the original 3-tomo Sharingan. Uchiha Choshin casually waved his hand to disperse the water wall erected between the two, and asked with a smile, "Have you felt the power of Mangekyo Sharingan and its pupil technique? This time, you believe what I said." Kakashi felt his own Sharingan and felt a sense of loss. After all, the Mangekyo Sharingan just brought him a new feeling of power, and the pupil technique sleeping deep in the Mangekyo Sharingan brought him even more. There was a feeling of great power, but this feeling disappeared as Sharingan degenerated, and he couldn't help but feel a sense of loss. However, when Kakashi heard Uchiha Choshin's question, he cheered up and nodded directly, indicating that he now fully believed Uchiha Choshin's words. Seeing Kakashi nodding in recognition, Uchiha Choshin continued, "This is the first time I have encountered you in this situation. After all, Mangekyo Sharingan is very rare even among our Uchiha clan. I didn't expect that the Sharingan Uchiha Obito gave you would actually evolve into Mangekyo Sharingan. I don't know what went wrong." Immediately afterwards, Uchiha Choshin's tone became serious and warned Kakashi, "Senior Kakashi, originally, as the deputy chief of the Uchiha clan, it was impossible for me to see the Mangekyo Sharingan of my clan leaving and remain indifferent. But now, the Uchiha clan, originally I'm preparing to move out of Konoha village, but there's a lot of trouble. Moreover, we, the Uchiha clan, promised to give this Sharingan to you from the 3rd generation and the 4th generation. It would not be good to go back on our word, so I will pretend that I don't know about it this time. When you use it in the future, please be careful. Don't reveal that this is a Mangekyo Sharingan, otherwise, it will be difficult for me as the deputy leader of the Uchiha clan, and I may be forced to recover this Mangekyo Sharingan." Quote. Kakashi didn't expect Uchiha Choshin to say such a thing, but when he thought about it, it was indeed the case. It was originally an ordinary 3-tomo Sharingan, but the Uchiha clan pinched their noses for the sake of the 3rd generation and the 4th generation, admit. However, if this is a precious Mangekyo Sharingan, the Uchiha clan will never let it leak out. Even the elder of the Uchiha clan will go absolutely crazy if he knows about it. Even if he risks his own life, he will leak it out. Mangekyo Sharingan takes it back. Kakashi wanted to understand the joints, and he was very grateful to Uchiha Chushin. It was not that he coveted the power of Mangekyo Sharingan, but he was reluctant to part with the eyes that Uchiha Obito gave him. Kakashi looked at Uchiha Chushin and said in a very sincere tone, "Uchiha Chushin, thank you, don't worry, I will keep it a secret." Seeing that Kakashi was so understanding, Uchiha Chushin nodded with satisfaction. The reason why he left this Mangekyo Sharingan to Kakashi was because he wanted to see if Kakashi would be able to do it if Kakashi discovered the Sharingan's pupil technique Kamui several years in advance. Able to discover Uchiha Obito hidden behind the scenes. Another thing is, since I can't find Uchiha Obito for the time being, I will let Kakashi use Kamui when I have nothing to do, and I will throw a few ninjutsu in there for fun, although the possibility of hitting Uchiha Obito by chance is unlikely. But it's like opening a blind box. It's very exciting, isn't it? Uchiha Chushin finally told Kakashi, "I have brought this Sharingan of yours with you to let you feel how to use it and let it evolve into Mangekyo Sharingan. You must remember this feeling and then work towards it. When you can open it with your own efforts, your observation and illusion abilities will increase a lot. Moreover, if you felt carefully just now, you should have discovered that in this Mangekyo Sharingan, there is a special power that is neither a ninjutsu nor a secret technique. This power is the unique pupil technique of the Mangekyo Sharingan of our Uchiha clan." Quote. Uchiha Chushin paused for a moment, and when Kakashi nodded to express that he felt it, he continued, "This pupil technique is also a unique power of our Uchiha clan Mangekyo Sharingan. This pupil technique varies from person to person, and everyone is different. Wait for you when you are able to open Mangekyo Sharingan, you can feel it carefully and it will tell you what it does." Uchiha Chushin told Kakashi some precautions. After all, he is the one who holds the inheritance of the Uchiha family. Of course, he knows much more than Kakashi, a Sharingan novice, knows. This time, he knocked Kakashi unconscious and copied the pupil technique Kamui. The harvest is great, and it can be regarded as a return gift to Kakashi. The two chatted for a while, and Uchiha Chushin took the initiative to end the conversation. After all, his target this time, Uzumaki Kore and her daughter, were still being watched by Azuki Shion. Although he believed in Azuki Shion more, he was also afraid that they would meet him. Unexpectedly, then this time I came in vain. Karen later appeared in one of Orochimaru's bases, indicating that Orochimaru was more or less interested in the Uzumaki bloodline constitution of Akari, but that shouldn't be the case now. After all, Uchiha Sasuke met Uchiha Sasuke when he was sent to Konoha village to take the Chunin exam. This means that at least before Sasuke graduated, Orochimaru had not met Uchiha Sasuke, so there is no need to be afraid of meeting Orochimaru this time. And something unexpected happened. When Uchiha Chushin and Kakashi came back, it was indeed peaceful. Uzumaki Kore and her daughter were still resting quietly there, while Azuki Yugon was guarding them vigilantly. In fact, according to the physique of the Uzumaki family, Uzumaki Kore should have woken up from the genjutsu hypnosis long ago. However, Uzumaki Kore's body probably needed rest too much, so she didn't wake up for a long time and relied on deep sleep to recover from the damage to her body. Uchiha came to Azuki Shion, looked at her tired little face, and the lines on her face softened, and said to Azuki Shion with a gentle expression, "Thank you for your hard work, Shion, here are Kakashi and I are watching, you should take a rest quickly." After all, Azuki Yugon is just a newcomer who has just joined Anbu. Although she is good at both swordsmanship and strength, she still cannot compare with a pervert like Uchiha Chushin. In addition, I had just carried Uzumaki Xiongling and her daughter on my back for several hours, so I was exhausted. Captain Kakashi had not woken up before, and even when he woke up, he immediately went out with Uchiha Chushin. Azuki Yuyan also worked hard to guard Uzumaki Kore and her daughter. Seeing that Uchiha Chushin gently asked him to rest, and Captain Kakashi beside him nodded in agreement, he was not polite and directly found a seat next to Uchiha Chushin and rested quietly. Although Azuki Yugon followed Kakashi for a little longer, she just felt that there was something reassuring about Uchiha Chongshin, and she couldn't help but feel close to him. In this world of ninjas, everyone, whether they are ninjas or ordinary people, actually live a precarious life, so both men and women are relatively bold in dealing with relationships. Moreover, Uchiha Choshin is handsome, gentle, powerful, comes from a wealthy family, and has a prominent status. The key is that he is still single, and he has a fatal attraction for her. So Azuki Shion didn't care about being reserved. Although she didn't say it explicitly, she also boldly hinted at Uchiha Chaoshin to express her thoughts about him. Uchiha Chaoshin also responded very gently to Azuki Yugon's expression, letting her rest peacefully. After all, Azuki Yugon is also a beautiful woman with a good figure and a beautiful face. Uchiha Chaoshin is also happy to accept the beauty's overtures. And Kakashi was a little helpless when he saw Uezuki Shion's attitude. It wasn't that he had any thoughts about Uezuki Shion, but he was a little surprised and helpless when he saw Uezuki Shion's bold expression. After all, Kakashi is still single now, and in the future I have been single for many years, so I feel a little overwhelmed by these dog foods. Time passed by minute, and after experiencing so many things at night, neither Kakashi nor Uchiha had any conversational nature. Moreover, both of them are powerful ninjas, and Uchiha Chushin's powerful mental power is equivalent to that of half a telepathic ninja, so the night vigil is still very easy for them. Uchiha Chaoshin and Kakashi only stayed on guard for a few hours, and the sky became brighter. Seeing that it was already dawn, Uchiha Chaoshin did not add fuel to the bonfire, but quietly looked into the distance, watching the morning sun slowly rise from the horizon. In this world, only the sun remains the same, even the moon has changed, so Uchiha Chushin likes to watch the sunrise. Only when watching the sunrise can he find the feeling of being in the previous world. And Maoyu Shion wakes up in this kind of smoke in the rising sun. As soon as I woke up, before I was fully awake, I saw Uchiha Chushin's perfect profile. Under the illumination of the morning sun, the side face seemed to be illuminated by a layer of golden light. Coupled with the handsome and strong lines, in Maoyu Shion's eyes, it was like a god descending to earth. And the eyes that reflected the sunlight were even more shining, as if they could be reflected into Uoyuki Shion's heart, making her completely crazy. Azuki Shion didn't expect that when she just woke up and was still confused, she would be hit hard by Uchiha Chushin's appearance. Maoyu Shion covered her hot face and murmured to herself, "Oh my god, can I still be saved? Who can come and save me?" I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more.